this is Jordan Grace, and you're listening to the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
BWB, this is One Nation Radio. You better get it right. Rich Ladder, James Boyd came to give them life. The Blackest Wrestling Podcast has come to kick all ass and drop it 6 feet if they kicking trash. Word, let me welcome y'all to something different. And if you dig it, man, you should let some friends listen. We be getting it in, this on the regular, dude. Ravish and flow, but this shit rude. See, James don't rap, so I had to break it down. The whole network, man, we coming for the crown. Raps in the columns, I keep them both covered. Making the beats too, so the listeners can bump it. Hit us with the rating, yeah, I'm saying it's a 5. Before you hit it, talk, bob your head side to side. It's One Nation Radio, and this is the beginning. It's Rich, and I'm here with James. It's time to listen to One Nation.
We got to unleash the power of the pyramid.
This is Mike Sempervive from WrestlingObserver.com. Check me out on Wrestling Observer Live every day. And also check out your boys, Rich and James, on One Nation Radio.
This is Kenny Omega. We're listening to One Nation Radio. Check it out, guys. These guys know what's up. Big Kenny Omega fans. That's all that counts to me. Goodbye and good night. Bang.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of One Nation Radio, the return episode, the first real episode of 2021. We are now into New Year. Happy New Year, everyone. I know this, we're like, this is what, the 12th, so we're like, damn near 2 weeks behind, but, after doing all these year in review stuff, we are now here, the first One Nation Radio, reviewing some real shit of 2021. Rich, how are you doing, man?
I am good. I am the very popular Rich Latta, and I am back, ready to talk about, lots of things, because apparently the government is under, threat of being overthrown, and, or it was under the, attempt of being overthrown. Been all around. I did a, podcast with, Swerve and, Montesi and Angelo Dawkins. It should be hitting YouTube shortly. That was pretty fun to do. We mostly talked about rap and all that, but, what times we had Wrestle Kingdom, we had New Year's Smash, lots of stuff. We got some questions here. I opened up the bag. We're a couple of days late. Of course, I was tired last night, so that's like the only reason we didn't have a show out. So
yeah, and me, I had so much wrestling to watch, because it's like, before we went into the hiatus, I was like, I'm done watching WWE television. I'm just done for now. Like, I need a break. And honestly, I was like, the only thing I watched and kept up with was Stardom in AEW Dynamite. And like, after that, I was like, I don't care about whatever Cork and deals they're doing at the end of the new year after after Best of the Super Juniors getting into Wrestle Kingdom. The Road 2, I just didn't give a shit. So I was like, all right, let's just focus on the two things I care about the most, and then like I'll catch up. And then when it was time to catch up, boy oh boy, I was like, yo, there's like 11 shows I need to watch like in a week. I don't know if I could do this. And like I immediately punted, like Tokyo Joshi Pro's 1-4 show, Ribbon Mania, on New Year's Eve. I haven't watched them shows. I haven't tried to watch those shows. I have not watched.
No, I have not either.
Well, yeah. So, but even like it came down to it. It is like, yo, I'm so far behind. It's like, is this what I'm gonna do? Like, it's all I'm gonna do for like the rest of for an entire week is watch wrestling, pro wrestling. It's like, I'm not doing this to myself. So, I cherry picked like the stuff I wanted to watch on Wrestle Kingdom, the things that piqued my interest, and interest in the stuff that in the main events from the two January 6th Wednesday night shows, and like that's how I basically like cut some of that stuff down. So over like next week I'll catch up on what I missed or whatever else, and if you spoil it, whatever, like I missed it or whatever else. So it feels good to be back. It's been a minute, like, but let's get to this insurrection. Yeah, man, like, got a bunch of people that believe that the election was unfairly won by Joe Biden, even though everybody, with any credibility has said otherwise. And they all in different, even state capitals. They all, gathered in different capital state or national capital and decided to break into our governmental buildings and basically smoke out a lot of our major politicians. As far as going into Nancy Pelosi's actual office, stealing her computer or putting her feet up on her desk and that sort of thing. And, a lot of our politicians having to barricade themselves into, cause they were scared for their lives or scared for their safeties, which naturally you would. These freaking crazy people that are, breaking into these buildings, they have no business even, trying to, think that you can go to without, dealing with some type of, gunfire coming back at them. But, for some reason that didn't happen. It's almost as if people in law enforcement kind of rock with that side and let a lot of stuff slide. If it were, let's say, Black Lives Matter or any other type of movement, they would have fucking slaughter. So,
they would have had to come up with like a name. You know how they had the Boston Massacre back in and it only killed 4 people. They would have had to invent a new word for whatever may have gone down.
It'd been some Bloody Sunday, Bloody Monday, some bloody whatever.
Man, I will never forget what I was doing when all this stuff was going down. Now, when elections go down in America, I know there are people that check out the show from all around the world, in every country, Europe, Australia, wherever you're listening.
Wait, Europe's a country?
Continent.
Wait, I can't let that slide. I can't.
Yeah. Different countries, that check out the show. If you're not an American, you're hearing this, you're like, huh. Now, sometimes, after the elections, there will be protests. Of course, when Trump got elected, there were protests there talking about pretty much, they weren't protesting the fact that he won. They were protesting, what it may mean for, different subgroups of people and things like that. But these people
nobody stormed the Capitol to try to stop the electorate declaring or awarding the Electoral College to Trump as he won.
Right.
Even though there was all the crazy stuff with how what Russia may have done to influence our elections, right? Mm-hmm. And the trick of our goofy electoral college as opposed to a popular vote, all that's at play. People went to DC, and a few people went to school went to DC.
They went there to go fight on a lie, like Slim Charles was saying in The Wire.
Well, hold on, I'll get to where you're going in a second. But when it was Trump that won in 2016, people did go to Washington and marched or whatever. But it wasn't to actually dispute that he had won. It was this dispute that this is not what we stand for as a country. Whereas these people in 2020 or 2021 came to literally try to stop what was already done.
To stop the count.
They were
literally
people showed up with bombs and zip ties. And keep in mind, this after our Michigan governor, the governor of the state of Michigan, had a kidnapping plot thwarted by the federal federal agents. I think the FBI stopped a militia, or I don't know how big a militia counts, but a group of men, right wing extremists that were trying to kidnap the fucking Michigan governor. So it's this has already been in the air here for months now, and it's wow, y'all had bombs, y'all had zip ties. Some of y'all obviously there was a few hundred of them. So it was all around DC at the time. So it's some people were here for play, some people were here for the real, and you can't tell, who was doing what, because they're all crazy and they're all there for God knows what reason. Some obviously more dangerous than others. So it's that number of people, where the fuck is the police presence in case some shit goes left? And
turns out the police were letting them in.
Right.
And,
shocker. It's almost as if we knew that immediately the second happened.
I was just absolutely dumbfounded, by seeing this. And it was man, it was a really dangerous situation, because there were single officers that were holding these people off.
They were the last line of defense.
Yeah. There were, our Congress men and women and senators are in these rooms, and who knows, they could have all died. Like, like then what the fuck happens? Like,
right.
And you see that stuff, and of course there were a couple lives lost, and you don't ever want to see anyone lose their lives, but I'm sorry, I don't feel bad for these people that went out there on that lie, that have been being fed this phony media and this phony nonsense. Literally, but if they can't see through this grift that's been going on, and this scammer, this charlatan, this con artist, and they go out there and they die, I'm sorry. I'm going to play "Fuck Your Homie, He Dead." I'm going to play all those songs. New. What's that song called? It's like new op pack in the air, all that. Let's I'm going to laugh. Like I feel no sympathy. As Scott Steiner would say, no sympathy in these streets. Like, if you can get conned by this grifter and take your ass out to Washington to try to disrupt, like, I'm sorry, man. Like, and then I've seen people like immediately try to compare it to Black Lives Matter, and I'm like, that. Like, we're not doing false equivalence here. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this is literally treasonous to the country. And all these people that claim they love the country, and they claim, to honor the flag and all this stuff, we're ripping down American flags and hanging up Trump flags. And just like how, it's so bad on so many levels, and they're about to try to get Trump out of here officially before he's supposed to get out of here, and I hope it happens. These folks, it's baffling, man. Like, and I'm sure we've got, I don't exactly know the different demographics of the show, but if there's anyone that has listened to this show for any amount of time, this should not be a shock. The stuff that I'm saying here. You look at Washington, and you look at different movements that have happened around the country, and you just start seeing like how it's being encouraged, and where does it go from here? It can only get worse, because the inauguration's in what? 8 days.
8 days. 8 days.
So they're trying to I believe they're running security through the ringer to see if they're like double agents right now, to try to see if they're like, co-sign that shit. So, it's not some type of inside job come inauguration day. Like, I don't get this. Like, how did this grifter like get to y'all like this? Why do y'all love him this much? Like y'all ain't riding for nobody else like this. I am not riding for any type of politician like this. Ever.
Yeah. Same here.
I don't know. Like, how can people be scammed this hard?
The thing for me is, people always talk about, or not people, but just in general, the way we talked about people being radicalized, and people are so quick to only talk about it in terms of political and let's say groups of persuasion, if you will, in different countries, right? And it's like it's only third world countries that can happen to, places
right
on the below the, or not in this country, that can never happen here, right? Shit like that can never happen in the Western civilization. It's like, nah, man. It's always been here. It's been here for it's been, like the Ku Klux Klan has been around for centuries. So for me, or roughly, or over 100 years. So anyway, for me to see all this stuff happening, I'm not saying this is exactly the Ku Klux Klan, but what I'm saying is, like, there's a lot of overlap on that Venn diagram between like neo-Nazis, like, authoritarianness. Like, it's just, you see this stuff and it happens, and it's like, I've always known this is there. I didn't know that they would be this brazen. It's probably my naivety for thinking that was the case, but just to see the free pass they got that day, and it's like, wow, that's
those are the rules, huh?
Yeah,
I didn't
know.
Like,
oh, like I'm usually always aware of how far that stretches. That
GTBW.
Yeah, how good that stretches, and like it's crazy.
Maybe we underestimated it.
I just think I don't know. Like, but for the fact that people, like, so many of them are getting caught up in the fact that they were on camera doing things they had no business doing, and then
smiling for the media,
and then they thought they could just go home,
taking selfies with the police.
Yeah, like, it's like, nah, bro, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy, and
taking photos with artifacts from around the building, bringing Confederate flags into the Capitol building.
Yeah, I think the craziest part is, like, there was a group, because they're different sides. There were one on the east side and one on the west side, as far as, like, and depending on what side of the building, this building you were on, like, it was either rainbows and sunshine with police, or it got real aggressive where someone ended up getting clapped out there, right? But I think the thing for me was just the fact that, like, they thought that they could do this and just fly back to Iowa or wherever fucking country or whatever state they actually are from where they fought from, and thought that, like, they just go back to their regular lives. Like, no, like I understand that y'all are white, but, like, that's not how this fucking government works. Like, you don't get just to show your ass on state property, on state, you know what I'm saying, and just do that and then leave when there's no repercussions. Nah, they're gonna prosecute all of y'all. Like, y'all may not have gotten, tear gassed or maced or beat to hell or nothing like that, but best believe they gonna identify y'all. And y'all are gonna come to justice some way, shape, or form. Maybe not as badly as, had there been some other movement, but nah, it's not fucking games. So, I just think, I think a lot of people, want to get him out of there by doing a second impeachment, and, like, more power to you, go for it. Do I think that's going to curb any foolishness that may happen in, come 8 days from now? Possibly. No. Do I still expect, like, it's gonna be people gonna be with the shits come the 20th? Absolutely now. Cause I was expecting this sort of thing on the 20th, if it was ever gonna happen. Not days before to try to, don't stop. Let's try to, let's go up there and, just be out there and also break into the building, and then also have some of us try to think about potentially kidnapping some of these people so that this shit won't go through. Nah, that ain't. This shit is gonna be a rough next, like, couple weeks, and then we'll see where we go from there. But another thing is, like, you look at that and then you also think of, wow, like, COVID. This shit's not over. This shit is never gonna be over. So I don't know, man. I don't know where exactly how to end off on this, but it was just weird to see that, especially for me, because, like, I was as it was happening, I was away from Twitter in that way, and the stuff I was getting fed was, like, stuff that y'all were sending me, and I was like, yo, this is wild. What is going on? I was like, but I can't use the fucking internet. I can't use the stupid internet because it eventually will get to me and tell me all these results for Wrestle Kingdom, which actually happened to me anyway, where a fucking email from some mailing list that I don't remember ever subscribing to sends me had my name on the New Japan of America account. It sent me an email that literally said in the subject, Kota Ibushi, new double champion. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, stayed off Twitter. Didn't go through any of the messaging. Stayed off Discord. Stayed off online. Unsubscribed to YouTube channels that could spoil anything. To make sure the algorithm didn't get me. A fucking email that I never remember ever signing up for got me. I clicked on that shit and unsubscribed so quick. Fuck New Japan of America. I hope y'all never succeed. Fuck the Western expansion. After that, I was furious, bro.
Damn.
The only two matches I knew the result to. I made it a whole week except for those two fucking matches. The two most important matches.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get to Let's get to Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, man. Wrestle Kingdom 15 had some concerns going into the event about how it was all set up, but sometimes you forget that you know, at the end of the day, the wrestlers got to wrestle. And for me, I love this show from top to bottom. It was quality wrestling up and down, guys trying to have legendary performances. It was, you know, the last match, the Kota Ibushi Jay White match, one of the best matches I've ever seen in my life. I was just, it didn't even matter that the Dome, they couldn't cheer. I still got the feeling for it being the Dome. I, you know, loved the performances from, you know, a lot of the wrestlers. I thought guys like Shingo and Jeff Cobb really, you know, hit very high. And you know, seeing the end, like with Ibushi, it was like the right person won at the end of the day with this, and that goes a long way. And flat out, it was like, I thought the show was incredible. I thought it was, I liked it better than last year's Wrestle Kingdom. And it was just like, I didn't even notice that you know, I don't want to say I didn't notice that, you know, they couldn't make noise or anything, but it just felt really big, felt really grand, and it was it was a really fun show to watch.
Yeah, the matches that I watched all were excellent. I ended up watching. Well, there's one match I didn't think was necessarily excellent, but it was still a very good match. I ended up catching the Tanahashi match, the Ospreay Okada match, the double belt main event from night 1, the double belt main event from night 2. I skipped past the U.S. belt title defense between Kojima and Kenta, but I skipped to the end of it, and I saw that, like, he outpaced that man with a slap, gave him the bicycle knee, he kicked, and he gave him a GTS for to hold on to it. I also saw the Pale Rider. Jon Moxley, the Pale Rider, and his promo. And then night 2, I ended up watching like the last 3 big matches, and I can't remember what else I watched, but yeah, it was everything I watched I thought was at worst very good, and then at times like incredible. I thought the best match was Okada and Ospreay, but there were still like 4 matches that were like, you know, like 4.5 or better. The stuff like, I also watched the Never match, of course, and Never match is fucking incredible. So just a you know, I still wish they had did more with Ishii, but you know, it was still a great show. Still great shows, plural.
Yeah, so I guess a cool way to do it, we can swap main events. Okay. Like we can go day 2 main event, day 1 main event, semi, third match, fourth match. Now, so I guess we can start. I'd like to at least start with Kota Ibushi and Jay White on day 2. Just an incredible match, 5 stars. I don't know what it is about this match, but they just kept fighting and they kept going and kept pulling you like deeper into the match. I think with every twist and every turn, all the interference stuff worked. I thought it was smartly wrestled by Jay White. This is my favorite Jay White match ever. Ibushi, of course, like you're just rooting for him to just beat the fuck out of this guy, and he does. He hypes up at the end. Match goes really long, but for me, the match going really long added to the epic nature of this. If there's somewhere you're going to go really long, let it be the biggest match of the year. Let it be Wrestle Kingdom's main event. I'm not going to tell you to cut it down or chop it down unless it just flat out is ass, which with this one was very far from. Ibushi finally, I've been watching Kota Ibushi since 2015 and watched a lot of his career, you know, just doing different types of research. This man has always been one of the rawest wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. And to see him finally, you know, get on that, you know, get both belts and was really cool. And to see Jay White like in there kind of be like this perfect foil for him, that that second night was really cool to see. I think this is one of my favorite Wrestle Kingdom main events for sure.
Yeah, great match. I don't like it as much as you do. I was also spoiled by it, so it's a match that, like, I'm gonna have to watch again. Matches for me, typically, when I know the finish to him, I'm just like, I never, I'm always like a quarter star to a half star behind to most people. I'm just like, all right, whatever. So, like, a lot of these matches, like, when they pulled the ref, when they did the ref pull, I was like, I checked out on the match, like, especially because I thought, like, yesterday we were going to do the show and I was up against it as that happened. I was like, bruh, wrap it up, get the fuck out of here. So, like, for me, a lot for me was like, I was pissed. So I was like, hey man, like, 4.5, get the fuck out of my face. But it went 45 minutes. I'm like, it went 45 minutes. Like, the last Wrestle Kingdom match that went that long was like Omega and Okada, and I was like, you know, what they say is like comparisons to Thief of Joy, and I was like, you're going as long as them. How fucking dare you? So I had a lot of shit.
48 actually.
So I had a lot of shit like, yo, what are y'all doing? Yeah, with longer? Like, what are y'all doing going as long as this match? Like, it's Jay White, Coda. Don't do this. But yeah, like, it was a great match. You could easily chop 10 minutes off, or 15 minutes off that match, but whatever. It's still a great match. I thought that, you know, Jay White, when it comes to these moments, like, maybe he's best suited to be the foil at the end of these things, whether it's, you know, the G1 final last year, 2 years ago, against Ibushi, the block final against Naito, 2 years ago, you know, the block final last year against Ishii, whether he had a chance to get into, and no one wants to fucking see him there. Him versus Ibushi for the briefcase. This, like, he's at his best when he is like the final boss. He's the guy there's no one wants to see there, and you put him in that spot to be the foil that you conquer at the end. Or sometimes he'll occasionally win, and you're like, well, why do you even do that? But yeah, that's his best suited. I think all his best matches are tied to stakes. That's why I like his Wrestle Kingdom match with Ibushi last year felt so flat. It was like, there's nothing at stake for this. This is a consolation match. And and like, you look at a lot of these matches, like, it's not like he wrestles appreciably different or harder or better. It's just like,
right.
It's all tied to stakes for him. He's just a heel in the simplest terms, which makes me, you know, it makes you appreciate, like, how they push him to the point where, like, he doesn't win most of these big matches anyway. They push him enough to give you the threat of, oh god, he's gonna come out here with this bullshit and on top for the next X amount of months. So, like, you know, they do a good job with that, and I like his G1 a lot more. I thought last year's G1 was his best G1 so far out of the 3 he's done. So, I feel like he's on the right track. You told me some stuff about, because I haven't followed any of the news, like, about him possibly leaving.
Yeah, so I think it's a work, but, you know, we'll see. Apparently he gave some interview after the match, like, you know, the post Wrestle Kingdom interviews that are backstage in front of the media. It was an incredible interview, basically talking about what he sacrificed over the last couple of years, not seeing his family, all to lose, and maybe he needs to leave New Japan, and he's scheduled to, you know, to leave X amount of days or whatever. And the wrestling world, like, the rumor mill has gone insane. WWE's like got the full court press on him, allegedly. They, you know, he's a perfect, you know, WWE wrestler. Like, you slide him in easier to me than you ever would have a Kenny Omega or someone like that. And some of this is like
in the ring anyway. Yeah, I see what you mean in the ring.
Like, this is the when I saw all this, I was like, oh, this is the Kenny Omega playbook at play. Like, this is like, you give the guy something after Wrestle Kingdom, you know, when he loses, to give him some attention rather than you just fucking lost, go away. Cause, you know, Kenny played Meltzer like a fiddle, in 2017, into even doing an interview on Observer Radio to announce that he was not going anywhere.
Right.
Which was funny in hindsight. But with Jay, like, it seems like it's, you know, it's gone through the different stages of, this is obviously a work. It's gone to, like, Meltzer having to cover it legitly. Him not being sure if this is up in the air. New Japan not saying a word, so that could mean it's an angle. We did get a question on it.
My question is this: okay, let's get to the question now. Then I guess because it might fit into, because a lot of times we do these shows that they have questions and we end up answering them halfway in the show.
Yeah. So this one kind of takes it a different way, but it comes from the JML. What's up, JML? He said, Rich and James, Happy New Year. Hope Rich is COVID free since he was around Dawkins for the Swerve City show.
Yeah, I see you be around these NXTers pretty often.
So he said if Jay White leaves, obviously Ospreay fills his role, but if he doesn't, how well do you think his babyface run will do?
Not as good as Will Ospreay's babyface run would have went, but whatever. We've already ripped the Band-Aid off that. We've been talking about this for months. It's like, why would you switch that when the status quo is probably better than whatever outcome you do the other way around? Like, I don't think that they're going to care that dude came out of their dojo to be like, oh, is this another white guy? Like, I don't think they give a shit. But,
so I think that his babyface run has some legs now. Based off the fallout with this interview, him kind of going away, and
how long is he going to be away though? What do you think?
He's advertised for shows in March, from what I'm seeing. So
he's going to go for 2 months,
right? But it's a whole thing. He might leave, and there are people losing their fucking minds at the possibility of him going to WWE.
Wait, hold on. Are these people Western fans? Or are these domestic fans?
Western fans.
So when's the last time in New Japan Pro Wrestling history did they give a flying fuck about Western fans? Would it be the night that Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks left?
Yeah,
all right then.
I think this is for me, this is things clearly an angle. This is clearly trying to dangle Jay White to say hey, he might, go over there. So maybe you should care about him. And if he stays, that kind of helps increase his profile. But I don't know, Jay White's never been in America. He's never meant anything as far as and I think that's
the 8th best wrestler in New Japan may leave. Who gives a shit?
I was gonna get to that. I was gonna get to that. So I don't think New Japan loses a thing if he leaves or anything, right?
Right. They lose. Okay. They lose a dude they slotted to be a top heel and has done a good job in that role, right? So there is something to be said about
you immediately backfill him with
I don't think
you have Carl Andrews sitting or Carl Frederick sitting right there.
Right. What I was gonna say is it does suck that you lose somebody you invested in all that time and effort into to get into a certain spot and they leave, but that's been happening to New Japan since 2016 when it comes to them. AJ Styles leaves, Shinsuke Nakamura leaves, Shibata ends up getting hurt and has to retire. Kenny Omega eventually leaves. Kushida eventually leaves. The Young Bucks eventually leave. This happens.
Yeah. But as far as him turning babyface, I think his babyface run will go better now since that performance in the Dome. I think bought him a lot of latitude personally. It bought him some real estate, as far as okay, maybe there is something about this guy that is that I didn't previously see. He's an official Dome main eventer in my eyes now. So it's but as far as Will, the only reason I thought that this might be somewhat legit is wow, what if they started preparing much in the way they started preparing Jay White, to assume Kenny's role, kind of by starting the unit early with the Empire, and we can easily slot him in. And then if he leaves, we've already got, they love a top bad white guy. They don't really get into the good white guy on top because, the last time that happened, he left the company after 6 months. So, it's very interesting. That's the only thing I think, as far as that, but I think, back to the match. I think the match was incredible. This was it just felt it felt right. As far as the pressure of the moment, and the fallout, but it would be very interesting if he left. I don't see it though.
I mean,
at least not now.
my thing is like, if he, as far as New Japan will be fine whether he stays or whether he goes, so I'm not concerned about.
All I know is New Japan, like, say he is a free agent, like, and if they feel like they need to keep him because, like, it can't come down to WWE, and obviously WWE can offer more money, and I think AEW is snooping around too, because according to Dave, like, they all wanted him back in 2018 when they were forming this thing. So, if you're New Japan, it can't be that you got outspent for this guy, because then it's gonna, you know, what does that keep saying? You keep getting outspent for people.
Yeah.
And him being 28 right now, I can understand if a guy's in his 30s, but this guy is still, you know, feasibly has his best wrestling in front of him. So, like, I think if you're New Japan and you put this level of investment in him, you don't want to lose him simply because someone pays more money right now. Like, if it's like 3 years from now and someone wants to pay more money, fine. Get him into his 30s, but, like, get these last couple years out of him, especially, like, when his profile is as high as it is right now.
I think that all comes down to if Bushi Road or whoever else, if the money is as believes him as much as, let's say, Gato does, right? Like, he's been presented in this way the past roughly 3 years. And, like, if you were to compare that to what do you think is what he actually brings into the company financially, I don't think those two things track, like, in a parallel way, right? And that's fine. Like, he's a heel. Who gives a shit? But, I think that's going to come up against it if it becomes a money thing, because, you know, when it comes to it's like, well, what does he bring to us? Hey, well, he's a guy that, like, we push to this level, and then we have our guys put over or go over more times than not on the biggest shows of the year. Like, well, what's the value on that? Build another one. Like, you know how these people think. So, and by these people, I mean, like, anybody that always, like, does this management stuff. Like, they always think that they can make another person. It's like, maybe, but eventually you're gonna run out on being able to rebuild people. Like, talent, like, the dude's clearly talented, like in that kind of stuff, like, over time, like, we don't take care of talent. Eventually, like, the talent you do have on the contract, start looking around and be like, I wonder what they think about me. I wonder why this is the way it is. And then you leave some falling out when, like, you don't keep people around. Like, we've seen this with all types of sports teams and stuff. It's like, damn, they got rid of my homie. He was really good. He's starting around like, damn, are they really taking care of me in that kind of way? Like, what about my relationship? Because I really want this dude to stay. I want to do all this and the third with this person. So, yeah, you know, it depends on if they think about that holistically or they think about it just in terms of numbers on the spreadsheet. And we'll see. But either way, you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling still be the best pro wrestling bell to bell with or without Jay White. But yeah, I don't know, man. Like, him in WWE, like, while I do think that he's like as good of a fit you could possibly get, from somebody coming out of New Japan as you can possibly get, to be a heel coming in the door. There's something that makes me think that Vince wouldn't care. Like, do I think that he could get the AJ Styles? You could get the bypass, NXT? I think they probably want to go through NXT, and I'm just like, yo, I don't really want him in NXT. We have, like, you have all the fucking heat in the world, and now you want to add another person for heat? Like, like, you know Triple H is probably drooling. Triple H is like, you know how football coaches like, you can never, or baseball coaches like, you can never have enough like hot fire power arms in the bullpen. In like football coaches like, you can never have enough pass rushing. Triple H like, you can never have enough motherfuckers getting heat. you can never have enough bad guys.
Man. Yeah.
So,
like,
you gotta be careful with that.
Look in the mirror and be like, that's me in 99.
Oh my
2000,
God.
that's me.
Oh my God. Yeah, and another thing I'm worried is like, yes, he is a good heel cutting promos for, you know, press conference stuff for like people that don't that don't speak the language natively. Like, in like a lot of the best promo stuff are like funny and cutesy sort of stuff, as opposed to like John Mox and Eddie Kingston going face to face into the camera or shit like that. So it's like it'll be an adjustment period as far as like doing that, that dry sort of thing subtle thing that he does. Is like, I don't know how that gets over an American audience when it's like, or how well we get over initially. Then maybe there'd have to be some revisions to the Switchblade character, or if they even go somewhere else with it besides him doing his normal thing. But, we'll see what happens. Like, at his age, he's as good as he already wrestles, with the stuff he's already done. Like, the world's at his feet. It just depends on what he wants to do. But I will say this. It will be real funny after they've done all this pushing for these next batch of stars that came out the dojo at the expense of guys like Shingo, or other people that weren't, or Sonata, even, that's like that weren't natively from the dojo, to push these dudes, and then all of a sudden it's like, I'm out of here, gone later.
I'd be shocked if he left. So, but the night one's main event was Kota Ibushi versus Tetsuya Naito. So I thought this was another great match as well. I think that they played into the reputation like we were going to see the most dangerous match that we've ever seen in our lives and all this other stuff. Everyone, they kind of put that out there in the media. And then what we got was this, just a regular, good match. And like, there's nothing really dangerous at all. Like, it was just like, yeah, so it
was so funny watching this shit. It was like, they do all these things, like, you flip them over onto his head, and then like, for some reason, I listen to the American commentary, because it's like, I feel like there's some things that I'm missing as far as storytelling, the Track City stories or whatever, that like, if I just watch the Japanese copy, I might enjoy, like, from a visceral level more, but like, I might need some of this stuff to be able to, like, recap whatever else. So, he gives him the flip over thing, and you see that like Bushi clearly got his, got the spike thing going, right? And then like Kevin Kelly's like, he dropped around his head. I was like, bro, he missed my foot. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then they did another spot. I'm like, this is the same. Like,
I was like,
they're selling that this is the most dangerous,
tricking y'all, man.
Right. They're selling y'all that this is this super dangerous match, as they're having literally the safest match they've ever had. And what I will say to them is, I'm going to congratulate them both, and I'm also going to take a victory lap, because back when them shits were happening, I was saying these two were fucking killing each other by accident or on purpose. They're still landing each other's necks and heads and stuff, and those who can go out there and not do none of this stupid shit and still have fucking classics, and they went out there and still had themselves like a 4 3/4 star match without having to do that shit. And when that Dominion match, when they had to follow that Dragon Lee Will Ospreay match when they fucking almost killed Ibushi, that was a 4 3/4 star match too. So I was like, y'all never had to do this. We told y'all. And y'all was like, no, we want to do this dangerous wrestling. No, you don't need to. Y'all are that good. Go out there and do it. Thank you. You believe in yourself. I thought y'all supposed to be like in front of all these people and be so theatric and have all this charisma and all this confidence and swaggering bravado. But then when it comes down to it, y'all like, well, I don't know if I can't do it unless I do my neck drop. Nah, bro. Protect your neck, wrestle, get off your asses, and go for the gusto. Congratulations.
Look, I still like their Dominion match more. But this was great too.
It was.
I when I watched this, I kind of got interrupted during the middle of it, so I don't have the fairest rate. I just have it at a 4.5 right now, but I'll probably have to rewatch it. But yeah, it was, I like the Kamigoye or the V trigger into the Kamigoye finish. Like, it was a nod, I think, clearly put there by Ibushi. But, yeah, man. So Kota Ibushi is the IWGP champion. Like, what do you think about all this?
I think that, while I am sad that he no longer does, much flying at all anymore, I still think that he has such a, imagination and flair for diversity in his matches that, he'll still have great bouts with whoever he has on top. and for however long this run is, he'll have still excellent matches, depending on if he gets an opponent worth a damn, and like the matches will be different. They will not be doing a lot of the same stuff that, like, for example, Okada was doing, where he was just going out there and like, let me try to have the most epic match I could possibly have without really being much dangerous, from, 2 or 3 years ago, or try to do what Naito did when it's like, I'm trying to do all this family turmoil shit, or whatever else that just didn't land on this mark last year. So I think, you look at his G1 last year, and if you can give me a batch variety like that, then, like, great. But what I will say is I don't need Murder Ibushi to come out, like, every month. I need Murder Ibushi to be saved for, like, Wrestle Kingdom and Dominion. Like, and maybe a G1 final or some shit like that. Like, that needs to stay tucked. Same thing for when we get to the Ospreay and Okada match.
Yep. So, So, Sonata walked out on him on the second night.
Yep.
I immediately wanted to tell Sonata, what the fuck are you doing out here? Why don't we bring Okada out here instead?
For a new beginning?
He walked out on him after the Jay White match.
Right. But I'm assuming that's for the next match, like the match that'll be for new beginning.
I know. It was just like, fuck the calendar. I want the matches. Like, I'm like I don't like fuck you. I'm not like, sorry, Sonata. Like, no, go away. Walk back up the ramp. Bring the Rainmaker out here. Like, but let's get to the semi-main event for day 2. Hiromu Takahashi and Taiji Ishimori, a tale old as time, fighting for respect. And something above the belt, like, there's a big star and then there's a champion, and somebody feels like they ain't getting the respect. And I may shock people with this one here, but I was more impressed by Taiji Ishimori in this match. I thought he was incredible. It seems like he was fighting for respect and to say, hey, I'm about to lose this fucking belt. Y'all book this guy above me, for however long, but I'm gonna make him fucking earn it, and he did.
Yeah, I think the thing of this match was to have him win or be on top for most of the match, while you have Hiromu like selling incredibly for bad back, bad neck, bad knee stuff. Like when he slapped on the label lock, like, for the second time, like, Hiromu was incredible selling it. Like, you could have bought that as a finish. It was a great match. Like, I liked their matches earlier in the year too, like the Jingu match, Jingu Stadium match. This was better, but I think at points the crowd was quiet, and I can say the same thing for the main event of the show. But like when it was time for it to peak, the crowd got up for it. So I thought it was a great match, another great match. Hiromu's just on an incredible streak right now. Where like you put in a big match, it's gonna work. Period. At this point, he's seemingly like one of the most automatic wrestlers we have. And like, do we need to talk about the plushie joint he wore? He looked like a baby ape,
bro. When he walked out with that shit, that man walked out and looked like he was higher than Stone Mountain. Like he
looked like a Beanie Baby,
higher than Mount Everest. Like you know how you say that there's never a picture of Daniel Bryan smiling that he doesn't look high. Right. Like Hiromu's the same way. Like
yeah, absolutely.
That man, like, he wore the most. I just want to know what it costs, where he got it from, because like I don't know, man. This is still not like gear of the year worthy. It's just outrageous. It's like, what the fuck are you wearing?
Yeah. It's absolutely outrageous. Like, this is like he's like Macho Man Randy Savage, but like with less like taste. Like, like, his whole thing is like, I'm just going to wear bright, colorful shit that, like, it all makes sense, but, like, maybe there's something missing in, like, in the culture to where, like, like, maybe to them, they think, like, he's a fly-ass dude out there, but, like, to us, it's like, nah, not quite. Like, that's not the Okada jacket, that is not the Ospreay jacket. Like, he's wearing, like, shit that you respect for the audacity. I think that's the thing. I think his thing is, like, he's going for audacity more than, like, trying to be fly, which is, like, that's definitely his character. Like, cause he's all about the gusto.
Yeah. So I went 4 1/4 on this one, so.
I was at 4.5 one. I loved the match. Like, his selling, like, it's always gonna work for me. Like, working Hiromu's neck is just always gonna work for me. I think I'm at that point for the rest of the time. And, like, you say the same thing for Ibushi's neck. Like, it's like, yeah, we know he's broken his neck before. And he does stupid shit in his neck, but, like, he still does neck bumps. He's an idiot.
So semi-main event night 1, we got Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay. My God. You talk about, like, these dudes walking in there like, hey, this is the fucking dome. Like, you talk about year for both of these guys. Like, just the contrast was just incredible. With the jackets, Ospreay's jackets that were, some of the stuff he had was in tribute to, like, fallen comrades, and just the color scheme on it was crazy. And then the match they had, it was like, it wasn't this blow away athletic match. I think it was like, nah, bro, I fucking hate you. It's just like, the one thing I knocked it for was the money clips. Just like every time the money clip happens, I just like say, fucking stop, Okada, please. So, I went 4 3/4 on this match, but, this was incredible. Like, this was just like, yo, they fucked each other up, and it was so perfect at the end with the Rainmaker. So, hell of a match. And Will Ospreay is like, he arrived as a heavyweight.
Yeah, this was the best night of Wrestle Kingdom the best match on Wrestle Kingdom that I saw, in my opinion. I thought this was incredible. I love, forget the part about, like, they come down there, flies to dress on either night. The part where Okada comes out and starts the match out, and he's like, all right, Mr. Flip Guy, here's my fucking flip die. Yeah. I
haven't seen Okada do that shit since, like, 2015 against AJ Styles or some shit.
Right. And he just breaks it out, and he's like, all right, I got something for you. And then, like, the 1B distraction, which was like, okay, you did your one thing, and then, like, we never saw her again. Like, she got her one thing out, when we knew that one thing was going to play into the finish of the match. She got the fuck away. Great. And, like, you got sick of the money clip, but, like, I thought, like, the last 2 money clip submissions, like, you could buy those as believable match finishes, and, like, the crowd bought into them. Like, when Ospreay, like, he's gonna pass out and literally grab Red Shoe's hand, and then, like, at the end got it to the rope, and the crowd was like, that's what made it peak to the next level. Like, to see, Okada, after not using the Rainmaker much at all since January 4, like, finally breaking out on him, and, like, it was cathartic. And, like, there was a part in the match which is like, we talked about like Murder Momo, or we talked about Murder Ibushi. Like, the Murder Maker came out. I ain't never seen Okada want to beat a bitch up like this. Like, the way he pounded the fuck out of Ospreay was like, yo, I had no idea. But it was a great match. It's a great match. And, like, I'm gonna miss Ospreay and the style he came out and showed a lot to us from 2018 through 2019, but maybe it's because of the Okada thing or whatever else. But if he can, like, push these buttons that kind of way, like, he might be able to do this for a lot longer than we thought he could. We thought his body was going to break down on him over time, wrestling that kind of schedule, wrestling that kind of way. Like, he's seeming to have figured this out for longevity in a way that we thought would have came after some of those choices were already made for him. So
I feel very vindicated. I always said that Will Ospreay would be the one to push Okada into greatness going forward.
Yeah.
And Okada on this night, he looked like the biggest star, like, in the world. Like, or one of them, like definitely in New Japan, like anybody I saw come out, like just perfect gear, perfect hair, perfect tan, just like you see him and it's like, well, how about all y'all assholes that was saying this man was washed last year? Like this was a fuck you mode performance. This was like just a guy that was like, yeah, all right, I haven't touched a belt in a year, haven't done anything. Y'all can do whatever the fuck y'all want with it. Well, I'm still Okada. As long as like they can actually figure out something for me to do, I'm going to be incredible. We did get a question kind of on this. Mm-hmm. So from Murray, he said, what did Okada deserve to, what did Okada do to deserve having to face Evil throughout most of the New Beginning tour?
He's paired with Evil?
Yeah. So, like, it's like Evil's, like, they're not doing any singles yet, but it looks like the singles may show up at, like, Castle Attack, possibly, but he's doing tag match where he's teaming with Yano facing Yujiro Takahashi and Evil.
Oh my god. Okay,
like,
so
the dice landed on fucking Evil. Like,
so was it 2018 when Evil beat Okada in the G1?
2017.
17. Okay. So you have that, you have Evil beating him in the New Japan Cup final last year. So I mean, there's a story at play. Like, I don't know what the career head-to-head record is between them, but Evil's won twice. And I think
they were spending a lot of time fighting each other at New Year's Dash.
Yeah, so that you're right. That's where it's headed. You know, I imagine. Well, it's different because the money clip's involved. So, I mean, whatever. We've seen Okada versus Jay White and Gato, so like, obviously it's not nearly as good of a. Obviously, they're better than Evil and Dick Togo, but we've seen him in that kind of setup before. Like if you told me that he's going to cut down on the money clip and be the Rainmaker now that he's beating Ospreay, then like. Yeah, I think that those matches could be good, or either way, I think it'd be better than what we got with the Naito matches, but because they'll be a lot shorter. But we'll see.
I think Okada will figure it out. I feel like he's motivated this year to like shut up a lot of the stuff from last year. Like, I don't even think Evil's going to be able to stop him.
The wash, yeah, like he's lost stuff at 33 years old. Like the dude that wrestles is like as safely as you possibly can in this era, and they still has these type of matches at 33. He's gonna be like, yeah, that's when he lays it down. Okay, he had the best match at G1. Most people think, oh, okay, like look, man, it's not his time right now. So he's like, I'm keeping some of these bullets in the chamber. I wish he hadn't. Yeah. I wish he was still going out here killing it and like overshadowing what we're getting with the Naito Evil stuff. But he settled with Yujiro Takahashi. Fuck you supposed to do?
Yeah. So we got Evil and Sonata. James didn't see this match, but I did. I give it 3 1/4. I think Dave liked this a lot more than I did. I believe Dave gave this 4 1/4. No way in hell. No way in hell. I will say both guys did work hard in this match. However, it was the full Evil experience. It was everything. It was like a best of and one mixtape of Evil shenanigans in this match. Sonata did try to fire up on him. He ended up getting the win over him.
Yeah,
wasn't terrible, but also like I was glad it was over. It was like, move this shit along. Let's get to Hiromu Takahashi and then the main event. I was definitely checking my watch. By the 20-minute call on this, I thought it had gone 40.
See, I had zoomed through to the finish and saw that Sonata had gave Evil everything is evil, and then he went up and hit his moonsault and won. And I was like, great. I don't need to see anything more else from this. Like, I don't need to see anything else. Like, right person won. We can move on. So yeah, like, I guess I'll go back and watch it eventually, but like, I just can't, bro. Like, that evil stuff. It's too formulaic and just like the same shit over and over and over. And it's like, look, man, you gotta have some type of switch up in this. Like, the Jay White,
crowd was into it a lot on this.
I'm glad they were. Yeah. I'm glad they were, because if not, boy. But yeah, like, I just not it's just he wastes too much. Even wastes too much of my time over the fall. Or the summer and the fall.
Yeah. And day one's third from the top. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Great O-Khan. Tell Great O-Khan to burn those pants. Don't ever wear them again. Supposedly those are his big match gear, so I don't know, but they suck. But as far as this match goes, I thought this was a pretty good match. I went 3.75 on it. O-Khan is not a stiff. I saw nothing in this match to think that he sucked or anything like that. I thought he did a lot of, I thought him and Tanahashi told a nice story, and Tanahashi, cleaned him up at the end. But it took him like a lot to get it. Great O-Khan's not going anywhere. The Empire lost all their matches, as you guys will see when we're into, but they're not going anywhere. I really like this group. Like, if those three guys are going to be like, all right, we got three different parts of the card, and whether or two at minimum, if they link up Cobb and O-Khan as a tag team, I'm definitely here for it. If they're having three different matches, and seeing what they did on this show, it's like, man, that's three strong parts of a card right there. So, call me an Empire fan, so far, but, I like this match, Tanahashi and O-Khan, and this was the big question mark, no pun intended, with, O-Khan's mask, going into this show. And this was like a lot of, folks that, are on our timelines, and, folks that are not following New Japan, even myself, like, man, what the fuck? What are they doing with the Ace? Like, why does he have to wrestle Great O-Khan? Like, and it looks goofy, but I like the guy's entrance. I'm starting to like the Great O-Khan.
Yeah, he's a good wrestler. So like the stuff with, I guess, a lot of people had, their antennas up for stuff Meltzer was saying. And Meltzer was just wrong on it, but yeah, clearly a good wrestler. Feels like he's lacking something as far as charisma in the ring. Like when he comes, his entrance when he's doing the, I don't know what it is. I would say something along the lines of like a drunken master almost, but but like he clearly has like the theatricality part down. He can clearly do a lot of work. He works in a way that's like a lot different from, or not a lot different, but different from like the Ospreys or Okadas or the Shingles of the world. But like, so like he can basically be a slow, change of pace person on the card, and that's definitely needed as far as that variety. I just think you see more of him. That's really upsetting. Like, I don't have a real fair judgment of him, but like from what I saw, like I thought the dude's a good wrestler, and he had a really good match. So, I would say it called it nothing but a success as far as like he's on the biggest stage of his life for pro wrestling, and he had a really good match. So
yeah, he looked like he belonged. He looks like he's going to be there the next 10 years or whatever.
Yeah,
but
like, and he clearly has a presence to him, but like I don't know if that translates in from a charisma standpoint out to the crowd. Like obviously, they have a lot of the question mark towels, whatever else, but like, and obviously it doesn't really matter because he's a heel right now. But I wonder, like, is there, something there as far as being able to, express to the crowd, to the cheap seats or whatever else in that way. And, obviously it's too early to know that yet, but I wonder.
That's what his promos are for, like where he cuts them in the ring without a mic. Like he does this thing where he cuts his promos and he has this big booming voice. And it especially got displayed at New Year's Dash, like how they were yelling out. They fucking destroyed. No, it was in Tokyo City or Tokyo Dome City Hall or something like that.
Okay, so all right, so I gotta ask a question. He's cutting his own hair, right?
He's gotta be,
because no barber that is worth that is worth anything. Not saying they wouldn't give that haircut, but the fact that like his hair was different lengths at different parts is like, yo, nobody's hair grows like that. You are clearly cutting your own hair with no regards for the fact that like this part is a 1 and this part is like a 1.5 and then this other part is like a half, like with no regard. And it's like, bro, I don't want to say these patches out there, but it's like I can see this, and New Japan's Pro Wrestling isn't in no 1080 P. Like this is some 720 shit, and I can still see it. So it's like, and also like his joint in the back, that the tail in the back, like that's not completely like symmetrical as far as what's there and what's not there. And it's like, yo, okay, so you clearly did this. Like I don't think you can hand anybody but a child that and then and then have it look like that. Like this was not freshly done. This was not freshly done.
Maybe Minoru Suzuki can help him with cutting the hair, because Suzuki does the squiggly lines. I don't know who does his joints, but maybe he could point him in the right direction.
Minoru Suzuki goes professional for that.
Yeah,
you can tell.
Yeah, speaking of hair, Hiroshi Tanahashi came out with his hair looking perfect and more Raw gear, looking like it was influenced by some type of Voltron looking thing, like some Transformers thing. It was like red, white, and blue type gear that he had on. Mo-fi shit for the ace.
Yep.
And the program going forward for him is we're going to get to this next match here. Shingo Takagi and Jeff Cobb. Shingo wins, and we're getting Shingo and Tanahashi next at New Beginning. And I've been fucking waiting.
Like, when people were like, when people were rightfully like, why is Tanahashi doing this match with Great Okada? Like, where's his thing? Are they, and then it's like, oh, okay, so he did this, so he can do this. All right, then. I have no.
Ace?
Never mind, Gato. I'm sorry, Gato.
Look,
yo, this match was so fucking good, bro. The Ace versus the Dragon. Oh my god! Can I get a poster of that? I don't even know where to put a poster like that, but I just want one. Yeah. The Ace versus the Dragon.
Shingo Takagi versus Jeff Cobb. I also gave this match 5 stars. This was another version of ROPW. This was just 2 big brolic motherfuckers dropping each other on their domes, wrestling, hitting suplexes, firing up, countering with strikes. Just over 21 minutes. Perfect match. Like, couldn't change a thing. And if Tomohiro Ishii wasn't going to be on the card, these boys must have dedicated this match to my dog, the Stone Pit Bull. Like, I loved it. I thought this was like just up to this point. I thought it was it's tied for me for the best match. Like, this was like absolutely incredible.
I'm not 5 on it. I'm at 4 3/4. I thought it was the second best match on Wrestle Kingdom, but I'm with you. I loved every second of it. It was a joy. There were parts of it where I felt like, it felt like they kept repeating stuff, but it was fine at times or whatever else. But I still thought it was incredible. And I did like the story of like Jeff Cobb is that big, that impressive, and that strong to where like Shingo can't, junior Shingo him in that way, and like Shingo had to figure out how to finally get this dude up after going round and around and around for 21 minutes of just crazy wrestling. As far as his bad back, and like eventually he got him up and he gave last to the Dragon. So I thought it was a great match, really great match. I can't wait to rewatch this thing at some point. But yeah, it's going to be one of the best like sub 25-minute matches you're going to see this year.
Yeah, I've never seen a better Jeff Cobb match.
Yeah, definitely the best Jeff Cobb match I've ever seen. Yeah, definitely.
And with him having this new heel role, like he doesn't really have to do much in the way of talking. He's the third guy in his unit now, so he just has to be big, brolic, and for a former Olympian, those are nice traits to have. He can pick up anybody, and I think what you talked about with Shingo not having that advantage like he normally does, like him having to figure it out was something I didn't even think about going into this. And then when you see him in the ring, it's like yeah, motherfucker, like Jeff Cobb is fucking huge. Like,
yeah. And another part that's funny about it is like, we're so used to, you know, obviously New Japan Pro Wrestling and like a lot of this is sports based. So a lot of people, you know, it's not a clear heel face dynamic all the time, but like Shingo effectively for most of our time watching him has worked. His ring work and the way he has positioned himself in the ring has been working as a heel, wrestling on top, the person that gets the heat. And like to watch him in this match have to fight from underneath and then figure this out was very impressive in a way. And like in a way that like we've only really seen like his match with Show at what was that? Was that Jingu? That wasn't Jingu. That was Dominion. Yeah. Yeah, his match with Dominion where, like, Show was like, I beat you the second time, I clearly know how to beat you, he got overconfident, and then, like, Shingo figured it out and then beat him at the end, but that was only for a short amount of time. Like, this whole entire match is dedicated to Shingo trying to figure this out on how he's gonna get this dude up in the air to drop him. So it was a great match.
When does Shingo Takagi go on the Hall of Fame ballot? That's what I want to know.
Shit. I mean, when he already
this is one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
Like,
when he already be eligible,
he's
though?
entered that status for me.
Wouldn't he already be eligible?
I would think he'd already be eligible. Like, I didn't know if it may have fallen off before, or you know, haven't been in Dragon Gate, or
he's probably someone that was like, yes, he's been up, he's been in the results for Observer, he's been around for over a decade, so you know, blah 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 blah. And it's just so like he's never garnered the votes or whatever else because of, you know, the thing and whatever else because of, you know, Dragon Gate's so small, but. Yeah, that dude has been...
JML, let us know what has happened with Shingo as far as Hall of Fame voting, if, you know, he's ever come on the ballot.
Yeah, like, that dude clearly is somebody that's like, yeah, that's one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen in my life. And that dude wrestled somewhere really small. But, like, you can't tell me that his 2000... What? The end of 2000, or when he came in 2018 until now, like, he has been one of the very best wrestlers in the world. He absolutely has been. Consistently too.
Look,
consistently.
And probably like if you start digging into, you know, more of what he's done earlier in the decade, like he's got matches against everybody from
Gargano,
like
Daniel
Bryan to Brody Lee to Johnny Gargano to everyone in Dragon Gate USA.
Yep.
All stuff that I'd love to start digging through. So,
you know, when you sent me that picture of him and Gargano on the post, you know how fast I went to YouTube to try to find that fucking match? It wasn't there. But I was like, damn, all right, well, I guess I have to I'll do some digging up, you know.
Yep. So we got Kenta versus Kojima for the IWGP US Right to Challenge briefcase. We had Mox in the dojo in LA parading around with the red belt.
I want to picture him and Shibata together.
Are they both doing the pose like
sure, whatever? Yeah. I just want to say that there was a place where they were together at one point. That's all.
Yep. So basically, he was like, "Yeah, I'm coming for whoever wins," and these two had this was a professional match here. So I went 3.5 on it.
Okay.
I thought it was a good match for what it was. And, you know, Kojima got a moment to have a, you know, late career match in the Dome at 50 years old. He didn't embarrass himself. He was fine, more than fine, actually. And Kenta got the win here, retained the briefcase. The junior tag titles from day 2 was Master Wato and Ryusuke Taguchi taking on Despi and Kanemaru.
Yeah.
This was just there for me. I just gave it an even 3 stars. Solid work. Nothing too flashy. Wato did a couple impressive things, but yeah.
What about the heavyweight tag match from night 1?
I was about to get to that next.
That match was good as hell.
Yeah, versus Dangerous Takers. I thought this was pretty good. I went 3 3/4 on this, and I thought God was awesome in this match. I liked Tangaloa's white gear, and this match overachieved for me. Like, I didn't think it would be anywhere this good. It was like you kind of look up as it kept going. I was like, oh, this is actually pretty solid. Like, get into it.
It was a heel versus heel match where it's like Taichi's the most like popular person, so it's like, all right, how do we get Taichi in here to do all of his sheet spots, because he's not gonna not do his sheet spots, and then like get heat on him and then go from there. And like God, I thought they did a really good, especially I thought this is probably the best I've ever seen Tangaloa.
Mm-hmm.
I think like if you go back and remember when I was doing NXT Then Now Forever when he was in 2014 as Camacho doing that little mini TV feud with Adam Rose compared to where he is now. Like, I don't know how he hasn't ended up as some type of candidate for most improved wrestler in the Observer, but like you over these 6 years, my God, like like he used to be sorry as all hell. Now he's a very good tag wrestler, a damn good tag wrestler. So it's like, yeah, like just because you're in a certain spot as a wrestler and with certain people, like just because it don't work out there doesn't mean you're done. If you don't want to be done, like you can find other places to make this shit work for you. And like he's obviously he had to get on the road, make this shit work, but like he's making it work. He's done a great job. And Dangerous Techers, it's time to break them up and kind of add to this, or potentially break them up and add to what they have, because like there's a lot of Saber matchups they have a lot of tread on tires with, right? Like the only person he's really burnt it out with is probably like Tanahashi, Sonata, and Ospreay, but Ospreay stuff, a lot of that was in England.
He wrestled Naito a lot, I feel like.
He's been in his block a lot. Yeah, he's been in his block a lot.
I think they've run it in the New Japan Cup before as well. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think getting Taichi back in the singles is a good idea too.
Yeah,
and it seems like Suzuki-gun is kind of getting, like, with the rise of the Empire and them being positioned opposite of Bullet Club for a lot of this. Seems like they're leaning the babyface Suzuki-gun kind of
right.
The secret.
I've thought about this too, because it's like Dangerous Checkers, like they're such a fun tag team. Like Suzuki is like he's the cult legend now. Like, yes, he's gonna come out in the first 5 minutes or 8 minutes of his match, he's gonna get you out to the ring, push the ref down, grab a chair and break and smash across your back. But then after that, like, he's gonna start wrestling again. Like, so like let him get his goofy heat spot, and then he goes off and does his great wrestling. So yeah, and with Desperado, from what we saw over, Best Super Juniors, like, that's a dude, and what we also saw in, like, New Japan Cup, like, that's a dude that, like, if they would ever want to push the button on him, as far as being a, elite level junior, which he pretty much already is, like, if they ever really wanted to go with him and be like, alright, you could be the guy now that Hiromu leaves, there might be potential there. Obviously, there's no replacing Hiromu in that division, but with Sho, with Yo, with Ishimori, potentially other people that might show up in the next year or so, that we've talked about off air, nudge, wink, wink, like, that junior division can still be stable. Especially when you get the foreigners back.
Yeah. And someone like a Leo Rush, maybe.
Yeah, Leo Rush.
So
more consistent Ryu Lee there.
Yep. The KOPW 4-way, absolute trash. Shouldn't have wasted their time with this.
Didn't watch it. Didn't watch it. What happened?
Yeah, absolute trash. Nothing. Like,
who's in it? Yano, who else?
It was Bushi, Toru Yano,
oh god,
Bad Luck Fale, and Chase Owens. So like we couldn't put like Suzuki, Ishii, like Goto, nothing. Hey, like, man. Okay.
Hey, you said
like,
as if
they wasted my time with this at the Dome, this trash. So
Rich,
I'm not going to dignify them with a review.
Rich, you said that you can add Suzuki or Ishii or Goto. What makes you think those three want to be involved with this nonsense? It's like, we can put you on the card, Ishii, and a certain thing. What is it? King of Pro? Nope. I'm good. Nope. No. Should have booked me better.
Yeah.
Should have booked me better.
Yeah.
If you want this, if you want to tell me your experience, then you got to do things the right way. If you want to do it that way, I will not be there.
An absolute joke. So, opener for night one, ELP versus El Phantasmo. ELP, flat out one of the most athletic guys, just does like dope shit and shit to piss people off. And I enjoy this guy a great deal. And Hiromu was awesome here as well. I went 4 stars on this opener here. And This was night one, so Hiromu basically went back to back both of those nights. His next challenger is going to be Show at New Beginning, so that's going to be really good.
Oh yeah.
But this match was good as well. It was a great way to kick off Wrestle Kingdom, and I believe the Chad Matthews always exalts like when there are great openers on a card, it means a lot. And usually in that opener spot for Wrestle Kingdom, it started kind of changing, I think, around Wrestle Kingdom 13, where they went with Ospreay and Ibushi in the beginning.
Yes.
I believe last year they did something with the Liger thing, so don't really count that, but this was kind of in the vein of an Ospreay Ibushi type thing. Before that, you would normally see a lot of like junior tags, maybe open, fatal four-way, stuff like that, but this was really, really fucking solid. This was, I like ELP a lot. And I think he's going to get his hands on the belt this year. Clearly, with him taking that loss, like in a kind of like a reversal of a roll up move, kind of designed to protect him, for, whenever he can take the belt off Hiromu. But I feel like this isn't the last time we've seen these guys run it this year.
Yeah. I think that I see some of the things that Josh Smith sees as far as not being all aboard the ELP train. Like Phantasmo's great and he does a lot of cool stuff. I don't think he can harness all of it. I think he's overambitious compared to what his actual acrobatics can pull off from time to time. So like other times in tags, like you don't really notice it, but in the singles match going that long, or even watching like a couple of the Leo Rush match I watched for best or Super J Cup, like obviously he was rusty or whatever else, and he also did some spots to play off the fact he was rusty. But he's a step, or physically, he's a step behind the Hiromu Shows, you name it, at the top of that division. But like, I feel like he has a better, he's more imaginative on the things he can get into and out of. It's just eventually like, he's gonna have to find a balance, but like still this great
match. His transitions kind of stink, like.
Right. And so, even while I say all of this, like, I'm with you on thinking this is like a 3 3/4 star match, his opener, and like, this crowd did them no favors. Like, this crowd was so dead, as and stuff was happening, I was like, yo, are they that hyper attuned to the fact that he's like, missing like 15% on this or that and the third, and that's what's fucking with them, or what's going on here? And then like, it's like, nah, it's just like, there's that many people here, James. Relax. So, and it's also the opener, right? So, but anyway, like, yeah, I think he's great. I feel like if you want to do some great stuff with ELP, you have to have him in the ring with someone else that's as good as him or better. If he's in there with somebody that's like, he's unfamiliar with whatever else, it can cause a problem. Like, and maybe it's still some rust because he hasn't wrestled that much still. But, I feel like he's better suited, for tags like he was doing with, Ishimori. But either way, like, if you need to get a match out of him, he can get you a match. Cause he's not suffering for lack of ideas. He had all the ideas in that opener. Like, for an opener, he's like, God damn, bro, what about,
nigga, it's the dome.
Like, yeah, he wrestles like that wasn't a long match neither. That match was like 15 minutes.
Yeah,
that man put a lot into that 15 minutes.
Yeah, it was like Hiromu was like, all right, do whatever you do. Like, I'm gonna just be here. Yeah. I'll hit you when I gotta hit you. But well, yeah, I liked it overall. So overall, though, wrestling I thought fucking ruled.
One more thing about ELP.
Yeah.
As far as the work stuff and as far as like saying like, he needs to rein it in, as far as his character as a shithead, incredible. No notes.
I love it. Perfect shithead.
Yes, perfect. I want that dude to be tagging with Hybrid 2 as soon as possible. Like, I want that dude to be tagging with like 2018, 2019 Kyle O'Reilly as soon as possible.
Yeah, man. I want him annoying the pure elitists. Like, yes. It's just, he's incredible. Like, at that stuff. So.
I I want him tagging with 1995 Chris Jericho as soon as possible. Like all the peak level shitheads that I can think of, I want him working with them from past or present. He's that good as far as being annoying. He really is. He's great at it.
Yeah.
He's so good at it that it's like, it makes me like him. That's how good, he's so good at it, he makes me like him.
Wrestle Kingdom ruled.
Yeah.
You know, I had my reservations going into it, but I'm feeling a lot more positive about New Japan going into this year. With it's like the main event scene's kind of going to change up a little bit.
Freshened.
Rise of the Empire. I don't know what happens to Naito from here. They kind of have him taking it easy. He's getting paired off with like the third guy in some of these tag matches, and they don't have an immediate program for him right now. But he's very popular. He'll be fine. And I think, like I said, I like the Rise of the Empire. I like seeing Okada, like where he may go next. And, the ace, the never ace. So let's see if Tanahashi is, going to stick around long for that, or if this is just, part of Shingo's, voyage here until it's time to elevate him.
Yeah. I think this got everything out on New Japan from Wrestle Kingdom. Yeah. So I guess it's time to transition over to catching up on some of the stuff from AEW. We have to talk about the Brody Lee tribute show from the 16th? No, the 20th. No, the 30th was Sunday. Was it the 30th? Yeah, you're right. 30th. Yeah. So yeah, man. I thought it was a great show. I see people say this is like one of the all-time great television wrestling shows of all time, and like I get people's catharsis for it, but I'm just not with them on that. But I thought it was still a great show and one of the better shows in AEW history.
Yeah, I'm right there with him. Like, this is one of the best like shows I've ever seen. Like, you talk about. Definitely the best wrestling tribute show I've ever seen. But just as far as like the goal of the show, was to make, Brody Jr. happy and, for the, wrestlers to show their love to their fallen, comrade and let fans kind of feel that, that love with them. For someone like MJF to and Eddie Kingston to still work this into the pro wrestling context to make them want to, eat shit and let all these Dark Order guys like win throughout the match. And then, the end with them presenting the belt to Brody Jr. and his wife was out there. And this is just an incredible night of wrestling. The Eric Rowan appearance, him coming out, and it was just like, why wouldn't he be there? And it was just like something that I think AEW is like gonna like deserves like some heavy praise for this. And I feel like that was something that they did and showed, wrestlers everywhere to like, hey man, you come here, like, you can say a lot of stuff like, it's hard to, call businesses or workplaces family, right? And you should always be aware of that. And be cautious of that, like when they say that family stuff, because it's not a family. But for this night, it at least felt like it, because just every wrestler I felt like tried to work their asses off under immense, emotional pressure. And someone like seeing like John Silver break down like that, knowing he pretty much has a career now because of Brody Lee. Anna Jay breaking down the middle of the matches. For me, I thought, I was saying, 10, go ahead and unmask during the main event like Masawa, and you can be a top star during this. Like, but, this is one of the best nights of wrestling that I ever saw. And I was very happy to be a fan of AEW, and very happy to, for Brody Jr. to see how much his father was beloved by everybody. And the craziest thing was like when they were showing the pictures of him with all the WWE wrestlers there, like on the show, and like that was like a really cool moment that take you out of like, this dumb wrestling war.
Yeah, great feel good show.
But going into the new year, of course, everything got pushed back a week, so a lot of the stuff was supposed to happen. Instead, I know James didn't see the whole show here, so we'll kind of condense this portion here. But the SCU storyline from Dark made its way to the main show. They teamed up with the Bucks to take on Jack Evans and Helico and the Acclaimed. It was an awesome opener. I probably went 3 3/4 on this. And the Bucks and the SCU ended up getting a win, and SCU basically announced to the Bucks, essentially, we're coming for you, and the Bucks are like, right on, man. And, it's like a big, kind of babyface moment, and they fill you in on the next time SCU loses, they're going to break up as a team. So that's going to be very interesting to chart that. We got the return of Jon Moxley cutting a promo. Basically, he was pissed off. He was not happy. This is the first time we've seen him since he lost the belt. Basically said, he's not going to get in Phoenix's way. He's not going to interrupt another man's destiny, essentially. And he basically builds up Rey Fenix, kind of helps him, give him a little juice before the title match. And basically says that he's coming for Kenny at a certain point. And, you already know, I'm coming for you, essentially. And then I'm trying to think of anything else that was newsworthy besides the main event. I am pulling up my recap right now. I think that hold on. Fun times. Get your merge. Get your merge.
What was I going to say? Yeah, go back to the Brody Lee tribute show. Was it the Silver and Reynolds and Hangman Page match was an incredible match, or the awesome match? Yeah. So I would say out of that show, that'd be the match I would definitely recommend out of that to go back and check out if you have not seen it yet. That was from the quote unquote in great work perspective. That's the match on that card to go to. But outside of that, it was mostly good wrestling for 2 hours with all these different members of the Dark Order, and they all went over in a way that's it's a fucking tribute show. All his comrades all go over. It's a feel good moment for that. And a lot of touch of things like Cody and Tony Khan with -1. This is a name. This is a thing, right? Brody's oldest child. Putting his boots in the ring that was very touching. I got choked up watching that. Yeah, it was a great night. It was a great night.
The War Dog beat Jake Hager, and as much as Jake Hager wanted to try that, I feel confident in holding it up and saying the War Dog does not miss. Still, beats him with the F10, sends him packing, and these two big horses, they get it out of their system. And basically we get another storyline beat of Hager being extremely frustrated after the match. But however, MJF goes up to him and lets him know, he appreciated his effort and stuff like that. And basically Hager was tearing up the locker room area essentially. And this was another, someone else's trust that MJF is gaining. And as you start, looking around, I feel like an insurrection maybe happening in there.
Oh man. Serious question.
They might be throwing Chris Jericho out on his ass.
Serious question, because I don't remember, but I think this was the case. But even if this wasn't the case, it sounds like it. Was Insurrection the name of a early 2000s WWF pay-per-view?
Yes.
Was it, or does it sound like it?
No, it was.
Okay, there you go.
It was a UK pay-per-view.
That's right! Okay, I know I wasn't crazy, but it was this word sounds like some shit the WWE would have put vengeance, Judgment Day, destruction, this all these big ass, not big ass words, but these words that connote violence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Vince loved to slap. WWF loved to put that right on the slap, and right on there on the back of it, violence. Was there ever a violence pay-per-view? A WWF violence?
They should, right? So Private Party and Snoop had a moment together. He walked up to them with some juice.
Is that right?
It was, yeah, because, applying that they said they only had the gin, and then Snoop walked up with the juice. That was pretty cute. And then Matt Hardy showed up with contracts for Private Party. So essentially they're running in a gimmick like he's their agent, essentially. So like in the earlier days of like wrestling, like in the 80s and 90s, what would happen is your trainer would book you out and basically get you started, and then basically you would have to give the trainer a little kickback or whatever, 10 or 20% as a booking fee, to start getting you booked and shit like that, and give them a little taste. So it's implied that Private Party has quickly scanned these contracts, and Matt Hardy is like got a certain percentage of Private Party's earnings, so they have signed bad contracts, it looks like. So this is an easy way to turn them back babyface whenever they get a lawyer to look at this shit. But it's pretty interesting, actually.
So but
they did it in front of Snoop, which I thought Snoop would tell them, "Hey, young blood, make sure you look at a contract." But they didn't say, Snoop didn't say anything.
So
yes, he about to rip these boys off.
So Matt Hardy is Jerry Heller.
Yes.
All right. That's funny because it's like, if anybody's going to spot a bad deal for some young dudes getting into the game with a lot of potential, it would damn sure be Snoop. You think Snoop's still scared of, even though he been pumped out, he been put in and out of jail for the longest, you think he's still worried about looking over his shoulder for Suge? Or you think he's been over
Snoop got shooters. Snoop got shooters. Okay. Snoop could get somebody knocked off if he wanted to. Do you think he has him on the residence? I don't think he has him on the residence. I don't know.
He gotta make a phone call or something like that, or you gotta go holler at somebody to get that done. I don't think it's just like I got him on site with me wherever I go. I don't think he rolls like that in those days anymore.
So Darby Allin and Brian Cage did a weigh-in, which is fucking hilarious.
Who did weigh-in?
Darby Allin and Brian Cage. James, I want you to guess the weight that they announced Darby Allin at.
Is it a overestimation? Is it accurate? Is it accurate or is it a lie?
Oh, it's a fucking lie.
Okay.
There's no way that this is possible. And even if it was possible, it was from the skateboard he was holding and the fucking jackets and everything else.
175.
Around that range. Like, it was like 170 pounds, 172 pounds or something like that. I'm like, pounds? Darby's a smooth 145,
that man's
maybe.
Welterweight. Welterweight. That sounds about right.
But they weighed in Cage, and he was at 272 pounds.
That sounds like shoot.
Yeah. So basically, Darby said he's been preparing for this feud for 27 years in the making because he's dealt with shit from people like Taz his whole life. They played a really cool video, basically, weighing in on this match on the road to, I believe it was, and showing that this match's been building for like 6 months, like whether we know it or not, because from Darby, turning Taz's advice down from the tilt pin and everything like that. Like, this is like, I'm hyped for this. Right.
I've been waiting for it.
So Darby said, basically, let's get to the shits because all y'all is here in the ring right now. I'm ready. Basically, and slapped the skateboard on the ground, wanted to go. Team Taz circled him, and then Sting appeared, bat in hand, and Team Taz bounced, and but Taz promised that next week we're gonna have a new TNT champion.
So, is Sting like Omar from The Wire? Like dude with a duster, snow comes down, dude in a duster walks the street, he has a weapon in hand, and they're like, shit, Sting coming, we gotta get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently this is I think people are kind of annoyed with Sting right now because he just keeps showing up and doing nothing.
Right. What do you want to wrestle?
Well, yeah, I guess they just want something to happen, but I mean, next week is the match that, so I would probably say like wait for nothing to happen next week, but, and that's not me kicking down the road. That's just like, hey, the common sense thing is like the actual angle, something might happen next week. Yeah. But, the most over that Sting was ever been, he didn't do shit. Yeah, I don't know if y'all forgot this or not, but, they did a Cody Rhodes and Matt Sydal match. It was a little sloppy. It seemed like they were just a step off about the first half of the match. It was okay towards the second part. Cody did come to the ring with Snoop. They played a Snoop Dogg version of Cody's theme.
I'm sorry, what?
There is a Snoop Dogg version of Cody's theme now where Snoop's like rapping, whatever.
He's rapping, and like he's rapping over the down straight?
Nah, it's kind of like sampled into a rap beat.
Okay.
So, it's okay. But he's obviously out there for the connection with the Go Big show. Right. Cody ends up getting the win over Matt Sydal, hits him with 2 crossroads for the pin. But during the match, like Luther and Serpentico basically get hit at ringside. So whenever Luther and Serpentico get hit, it's an angle alert because after the match, they immediately jump in and attack Cody. Matt Sydal makes a save and knocks Luther out the ring. But Serpentico's left in the ring, and I don't know if you've seen it, James. I believe you have at this point. But Snoop decides to get in on the action, and as Sydal and Cody were holding him down, Snoop comes off the top rope and basically leaps very high into the air and does a high fly flow and knocks right on the Serpentico, and this is absolutely fucking hilarious.
Oh no. Is he alright?
Oh, he's fine. But it was hilarious.
On the landing?
Huh?
He ain't fuck up his knees on the landing? Like that shit, a splash is hard on the knees.
Snoop went to the top rope and like, bro, I was dying. If you haven't seen this, go out of your way to see this.
All right. I'm gonna watch the show. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, they were playing it on a couple different channels, and it got them some buzz or whatever.
So
but it was fucking hilarious.
All right. So has anyone had the discussion yet? I'm sure they have. But how many people? Let me rephrase it. I'll ask you. How many discussions have you seen on Twitter about people asking when WWE is going to yank Sasha's theme music down and change on and move on to something else?
I haven't heard anyone say that yet, but
really.
So I do have a funny story though about something being yanked. WrestleMania 24, I believe, has been yanked off the WWE network for whatever strange reason.
WrestleMania 24?
So Snoop was like the MC of like WrestleMania 24 or something like that.
WrestleMania 24. WrestleMania 24 is in Orlando, right? And that has a triple threat match between Cena, Triple H, and Orton for the belt. Ric Flair's retirement match. The main event is Undertaker versus Edge.
I think Snoop was involved in like the Playboy whatever match they had with the women.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, yeah. So I think we may have had a question on here. Okay, I guess we'll get to it here. But yeah, it was fucking hilarious. Good use of Snoop. Hikaru Shida beat Abaddon and defended it. This was not good at all. However, it was not. This was not good. It was not good, but it was not. But there was like a certain charm to it because it was like they were just kind of going at it. They did some horrible shit in the beginning where Abaddon was biting her leg and yanked her underneath the ring, if I'm not mistaken. Like, Shida was like crawling, and she like kind of got pulled into the ring. And at that point, I was like, get the fuck off my screen with this. But Shida came back and essentially fucked her up from there and beat her with the knee. We did get a question from MJ Does PR, 2 actually. He said, for your careful consideration, is Darby mid?
Does he know what mid means?
I would say no. Darby is not mid. Darby is a borderline superstar. I would say.
Well,
so
my question is, the reason why I asked if he knows what mid means is like if you know what mid means, then like most people wouldn't fix their lips to say anything like that about Darby in that kind of question. Like, he's a very good wrestler. A lot of people love him to death. He has a cult following, obviously. Like, he has a lot of things going for him. Like, he's like one of the better American wrestlers that are under 30, as far as the star presence or star power about him. So, like, I
would like to see a Jay White and Darby Allin match. That piece of shit against Darby.
I think there'd be a lot of arguments about what happens in those matches between those two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I don't know. I can't imagine. I don't know what a good like middle ground would be between them two. Like, because Darby wants to do everything and JY wants to do very little except for get his ass beat.
I mean, if Cody could figure it out, I think that's a good approximation of.
But Cody wanting. But the thing with Cody is Cody's willing to do virtually anything in a match,
or out of the match. Right.
So it's like Darby will do anything in a match. Cody will do anything in a match, and I think because Cody likes Darby so much, like Cody is usually on his best behavior to try to help get Darby over in his match. Whereas like Jay White, like I don't think they work the same way. Or Cody and Jay White are not the same. I think you can make some comparisons between them as far as like. They're not super, they're not necessarily super athletes, not necessarily super violent, they're not necessarily super, flippy or whatever else, but like, I think that there's a willingness that an openness that Cody has in his matches that Jay White seems to not have. Like,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, obviously, we're talking about, what does Jay White look like, in America compared to where he looks like in Japan wrestling Japanese wrestlers. So it might be a stylistic thing just based off of where he is. It might be a circumstance thing.
MJPR does PR also says, should AEW do a double gold dash for both women's belts?
No.
So they're
okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So in the road to New Year's Smash Part 2, there's an incredible video package for Ty Conti and Serena Deeb. They make Ty Conti look like completely like someone that you want to invest in and start cheering for. And also knowing she's fucking dangerous at the same time because they go all into her background and show all these photos of her from when she was training, in jiu-jitsu. And they talk about Serena Deeb being a coach, and her having a hand in training Ty Conti and all this stuff. And then Ty is basically like, man, you just worked in the building. Like, you didn't fucking train me. Like, it was really, good. And
mm-hmm.
This is actually a match that's booked for next week for the NWA women's title. So, the Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker got put off because of COVID stuff. So
who's in COVID jail between those two?
What's up?
It's one of them in COVID jail?
Thunder Rosa, I believe, is.
Okay.
So she may have been around somebody that, had it or whatever.
Right.
But, I brought that up to say, they've been doing these NWA women's title matches on, Dynamite for the past, 4 or 5 months now. And
yeah.
And over that time, I feel like every single one of those has outshined the AEW women's title matches on a consistent basis. Except
for Thunder Rosa challenging for Sheeta's AEW women's title. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Whoa.
Now, call me crazy, but maybe this is a way to eventually, I don't know, if buy the belt out, if that is some type of thing that happens, but to further boost the AEW women's title, which has like no type of lineage or anything like that, and it doesn't really have like it doesn't have a ready-made star walking into it like a Chris Jericho or a Jon Moxley. Mm-hmm. It showcased it over a certain amount of time. If they're quote unquote merged or even, put together, at some point, Sheeta and whoever the NWA champion is are going to have to fight. So I wouldn't be against it. And I think it would be a way to build up the AEW title if it was like merged into it or something like that.
I mean, the fact that it has no lineage doesn't really hold sway with me, because like the tag titles and the men's title have no lineage in it either. Like,
yeah, but they have ready-made stars walking into all those though. Like they don't have those for the women. Like there's no like. Yeah,
I get you, but like you saying that, like by saying let's add in the NWA title that has Serena Deeb. Like, I don't think that's
Thunder Rosa.
Like, I don't think necessarily that, you already have them on your roster doing matches for you. I don't think you need their title to help elevate your belt or you doing a double belt situation is going to boost either title. I think that, like, you have their talent, you use them on your TV shows. That's as good as it's going to get until you eventually just fleece one of them and have them signed to AEW full time.
So like, I think
if you want to make Thunder Rosa your champion, then go ahead. I don't care. That's fine. Like, and she's just quite frankly the second best wrestler you got right now. That's in the States. That's available to you in that division. So it's like, yeah, I can see that, but like, I don't think you need to actually merge the titles, because also it's like once you do that, you have to eventually gonna have to like separate them, and that's a problem we have with every title unification we've ever had in the history of wrestling. Like, I don't think there's ever been a good like deunification ever,
unless it's like a double crown from now on or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know.
That's what they want to do.
I could see this being the plan. So.
If that's what they want to do and they want to send Hikaru Shida or whoever else to NWA tapings or whatever, or shows, they get them more dates or whatever else and more, experience. If it's on to someone like a Britt Baker that could use more dates or whatever else to boost her experience. Yeah. On someone like Shida, nah. Or Thunder Rosa, maybe. Obviously, maybe Thunder Rosa could do more because she's not that far into the game, but like, someone like Hikaru, someone like a Riho, like, nah, they've done a bunch of wrestling. Like the other ones, I can see that as far as, but only for the part of sending them to wrestle non-AEW shows. But I don't necessarily think you need to you necessarily have to put a belt on them to do that. But if that's how you feel, then like, yeah. But that feels like the only value I see in that is adding experience from doing more shows. I don't see it as it helps in people's. I don't think it's going to sway more viewers to either of their products. I don't.
And I bring up the NWA Women's Championship because if you're just like a regular Joe watching, and it's like seeing the NWA Women's title and then the AEW Women's title, like you're trying to figure out how the rankings work. It can get confusing. With everything, there, just like, where the fuck did this belt just come from? It's just there, and then it just leaves, and then it's on at random. So I don't know. Like they got to figure something out, but I would like to see, a unification match eventually, if that's the way they go with it. Like because that is a tactic I think you can use to lend, credibility for a belt. Like you stuck it on TV for this long, you've, built it up within your universe. It's not like it's this, thing that's just popping in from the outside now. So,
I would probably say if they've, I don't know. I just think that AEW is so much of a bigger brand than New Japan, than NWA, that it's like, you're not, the favors that are being done are for NWA, not AEW. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, and we'll get to it later on. We talk about the Impact stuff too, as well. We're just like, y'all are so much bigger than that it's like, it's cool that y'all want to do this sort of collaboration thing, but like, if this is if y'all get the creative fulfillment of doing certain things with people, cool. But like, as far as getting more people into the building, and I don't necessarily think that that's the number one. That should be the end all be all. But like, if the idea is if the number one thing is to get more people into the building, I don't necessarily think that, or more eyes to the product, I don't necessarily think that's going to do it for them. But whatever, like, if it's creatively, fulfilling, then like go for it. But I don't really see how it could be, considering that like you already have, Serena and Thunder Rosa there, and you already have had Allison Cage show up and do matches. Like, I feel like, I don't know, maybe it's the NWA thing. Like, maybe it was like, I don't know. Maybe it was like Tokyo Joshi Pro because, the Yuka Sakazaki stuff, the Shoko stuff, the Riho stuff, because Riho probably, probably gonna end up back in Tokyo Joshi Pro. Like, maybe that's more of a appropriate fitting, and also the DDT Kenny stuff after he's left New Japan and done, the DDT stuff. Like, maybe that's a better fit, especially because it's like, there's a bunch of other wrestlers that are really good or super charismatic that will work in that way. Like, Miyu Yamashita hasn't showed up to AEW. Mizuki hasn't showed up to AEW. Maki Ito, who I think would be like the best like Japanese woman you can bring into American television that isn't a super worker. I feel like that would be those would be like the best case scenarios. Like, you bring in these people, you have, some other stars that you're already familiar with, a former champion in Riho, this other promotion, Prestige already, people respect, that follow wrestling around the world, that sort of thing. You get, there's a lot of street cred with Joshi Pro. So it's like that would definitely help them as far as, or I think that could buoy them as far as, quote unquote, adding for some prestige, if you will. And also, a roster of capable good wrestlers and people that could translate to American audiences. But, the NWA thing just leaves me cold. It just does, compared to the option I just threw out there. Cause it's just like, you're already bigger than them. Like, just from the first show you did, you were bigger than them. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Like, I'm sure Tony Khan doing something like that, like, he would do it better than I'm imagining it. But like, cause it's pretty much all he's ever done is do things better than I imagine it. But it's just like, on paper, just like, don't really care, bro.
So next week we've got the Elite in action. We're not sure there's something going on here. So it's going to be a 6-man tag. Also, we got the TNT title, Darby Allin and Brian Cage. NWA Women's title, Serena Deeb and Ty Conti. Miro versus Chuck Taylor. If Chuck Taylor loses, he becomes Miro's young boy up until the wedding. Yeah,
a slave match.
A slave match. Yes.
Okay, all right.
FTR and Jurassic Express, they did an interview where Marco basically jumped in front of Luchasaurus and started yelling at, I was gonna fucking say FTR bald, fucking Cash, Dax Harwood yelling at him, and basically Dax Harwood was like, we're gonna put you out of business, essentially, you're an embarrassment and all this other shit. So, Marco Stunt is gonna be in there with fucking FTR, and I can't wait to hear what Cornette thinks about this, but, and Tully, of course, riled up Marco Stunt, and Marco Stunt has loads of charisma, and year 3 Jungle Boy, get ready.
We can't get a 6-person tag?
Nah, not right now. I don't.
Like, you get Tully in there. Tully can do some things. I'm not saying he needs to take any bumps or anything. Like, try to use him. Like,
throw a punch.
Remember how they used Bret Hart in 2010?
God damn it.
Like, do something like that. Like, no, he can get in the ring. He can sell punches and stuff, but no bumps. And then, like, he can come out there and do his little thing. Like, he can do that. Tully can do. We know Tully can do that right now. So, whatever. Either way, like, I'm sure it's going to be a really good match. And, like, if it is one thing that, like, FTR knows how to do, it is getting heat on somebody like Marco Stunt. So, it's going to be good.
Also,
I imagine it'll be good.
They're probably going to fly around for him, too, at some point. So, Pac and Eddie Kingston, that's going to be really good. They had a part on the Road to, that was like about a 3-minute interview portion that was really compelling, actually. Inner Circle New Year's resolution, and then the waiting room finally makes it to Dynamite. Britt Baker will be on with Cody Rhodes. Can't wait for the waiting room to get on here. So it's been awesome on Dark, and I said it would pretty much it would eventually make its way to Dynamite, and here it is. But y'all know why we here. The main event, Kenny Omega versus Rey Fenix for the AEW World Title. You already fucking know. Incredible. For a 15-minute match, lightning speed, lightning everything. Like, just, we're not fucking around with the feeling out process. We're just getting straight to it. All action. Best match in the history of Dynamite. This was just like, this is what they wanted. They always want to see Kenny Omega and Rey Fenix on national television with no bullshit. This was just like, this was great. 5 stars. And the title run is off with a bang, I will say. Some of the counters in this shit were fucking nuts. I believe Phoenix went for like a Phoenix splash type move, but got caught into a fucking J driller. He did this thing where he ran up the steps and did a moonsault, or the ropes, and did a moonsault into a German suplex dropped Kenny on his fucking head. They basically traded V triggers and super kicks to each other, like bouncing up like springs. Lots of flips from Phoenix and just ultimate speed. And this is just like, crowd going fucking nuts. Like, incredible. Like, and then, your post match, but what did you think of this, James?
Great match. I'm not giving it 5 stars. I still think the Kenny Omega match was better than that, the Iron Man match from the beginning of last year. But either way, still the second best match in Dynamite history. It's still a great fucking match. I like this more than Nick Jackson in Phoenix from, Indianapolis back in 2019. Yeah. It's an incredible match. It's just it was short. And the copy that I got of it, I got the commercial break, and the commercial break is like they're throwing shitty chops at each other during commercial break, so that brought it down for me. But as far as when you could tell the TV was on, like it was on, so I can see I can see why you gave it 5 stars. But yeah, like you said, great match. It's just. I wonder what the ceiling is on Phoenix and Pentagon. And not saying the ceiling that's put on them by Tony Khan, but the ceiling as far as the language barrier, because we have gotten very limited stuff from them as far as them verbally, and they, as much as they use them, as much as they're over, they have to eventually. Put a translator over what the fuck they're saying, or have them, say, like a couple things in the English that they do have, because they're too valuable not to have to kind of use them sparingly in the way that they use them. Like, I'm in the middle of watching someone do a walkthrough on this video game called The Last of Us Part 2. The Last of Us basically, it's a survival third-person shooter game where it's not a zombie game, but basically it's basically zombies. It's like some fungus, there's a fungus infection, and it affects people. They turn into people that eat cannibals, then they progress further, and then they turn into basically blind animals or whatever else, and it happened in 2013, 2020 now. Somebody got revenge on somebody that saved someone's life. The protagonist is out for revenge, so they've gone from Wyoming to Seattle, to dystopian, apocalyptic Seattle to get revenge. And this person is scrounging the city trying to find these people, his group of people that killed their surrogate father. And, rations are low, medical supplies are low, guns are low, whatever else. And it's they are managing like from a position of the Lucha Bros. Like, we can only do so much with them. We gotta ration this shit. This shit gotta last. And it's like, they're so great. It's like, damn, man, like there has to be some way we can find some type of way to get this shit cranked all the way up. And I don't know if it's send them back to the tag division and make them eventually the heir apparents for or successors for the Young Bucks or what. But it's like, or maybe, you know, eventually the trios title thing or whatever. But it's like, those guys are so damn good. It's like, I don't want to go on that runway we had where it's like they were barely on TV. Like, I want to keep this going where like what they've been doing since like October-ish, where they've been featured on TV in these incredible matches for, you know, the better for almost 3 months now. Like, I want to keep that going, but I was like, I don't know how you can justify keeping them going in this way when they're like, they lose most of these big matches and they don't talk for themselves. Like, it's going to be really hard to justify that. But it's like, they're on cycle right now. It's like, I don't want them to ever go off cycle. They're fucking incredible. So that's where I'm stuck. I was like, how are they going to get around this? Cause they have to find some type of work where they can be able to justify this. Otherwise it makes no sense.
I think they are an expensive luxury right now.
Yeah, that's how they feel.
Like, they are, like, Phoenix or Pentagon's an older kind of guy. Like, I think Pentagon's like kind of in a take it easy kind of stage, like where he'll crank it up a couple times a year if you need him to have a great match, but he's getting by on his charisma, I think. But Phoenix is, you know, a guy that's going to try to ball till he falls every time he goes out there. So I don't necessarily think Phoenix is someone that you build a company around or anything, but I think he's someone you definitely use in positions like this. Like, can he headline a show for you here to challenge for the belt? He can challenge for any belt. I think he'd be a awesome TNT champion one day. I think that, you know, if you start looking at this match, like, I think Phoenix was just like, he's just on another level. Like, just the stuff like he was doing, just like,
yeah,
he's great. But it's like,
one thing I also want to bring up is like, Kenny Omega clearly loves wrestling luchadors.
The Executioner.
He clearly loves, I mean, not even, I don't even want to get into the part of, obviously that's what he's playing into by, you know, the what is he calling it? He's going after every belt. What's he calling it?
The belt collector.
Yeah, the belt collector thing, like, as far as that gimmick or whatever, that includes him going to AAA or whatever else, and, like, but he clearly loves wrestling these guys. He clearly loves wrestling Vikingo, and clearly loves wrestling Pentagon and Phoenix, and
I feel like I see this like smile on his face when he's doing it. I feel like it's just like,
but the thing, like, he gets to wrestle them dudes, and like, one, he's always bigger than them, and then two,
he doesn't have to slow down for them either.
He doesn't have to pace the match in the style of a New Japan match or a American match. Like, he can just go out there and like, fuck that psychology. The psychology is, if I put my knee into your forehead, you go down. Like that, like, he can just put the pedal down to the metal and like not really have to worry about selling or any of that stuff. You just go out there and just have these, you know, the Sugar Rush matches, which are great or whatever else. So it's like, barn burners, right? So it's like, he clearly enjoys not having to do all of the, you know, American or Western theatrics of selling and the drama and all that shit. He's like, nah, man, like, I just want to go out here and just like, and just drop 50. Like, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like, yeah, so it's like, he clearly enjoys doing this with these guys. So, and I enjoy watching him do these too. So, yeah, I mean, it's all around it was a blast to watch. Absolutely.
Is that the greatest AEW title match of all time?
Ooh, well, yeah.
I don't think there's anything close, right? Yeah.
What would be over 4.5? Besides that,
maybe. I think I gave 4.5 to Brody Lee and Moxley. I think.
Okay, I gave it like 4.25. So.
Besides that, I can't really think of anything that I
mean, I gave the title change to Kenny. I gave 4.25 as well.
Yeah.
But those would probably be like the top end of the best. What was Kenny? I'm sorry, Jericho transitioned the belt of Revolution over to Moxley. That's probably like a 4 flat, 4 or 3 3/4. Yeah, like, you're right. This is absolutely the best AEW World Title match. Yeah.
So after the match, Callis grabbed the mic and said he heard something terrible was happening backstage. And then Eddie Kingston and the family were beating up, neutralizing Pac and Pentagon. And Callis said, you know, they ain't coming to help you, Phoenix. And then they start whooping his ass. But Jon Moxley comes out with the barbed wire bat, you know, the garbage wrestling. And he starts hitting Kenny in the stomach with it, make the save. And all of a sudden, the Good Brothers show up with the Impact tag belts on, and they make the save for Kenny. They whoop Mox's ass, give him the magic killer. Kenny grabs the bat, fucks up Moxley with the barbed wire bat. That's what you get. Varsity Blondes run in, couple geeks. They get easily dispatched. More geeks try to get in. They get dispatched. Gallows powerbombs one of those guys to a ringside table. Kenny continues beating Moxley's ass with the barbed wire, grabs his, Gallows' hat, puts it on backwards. Moxley tries to come back, but just got overwhelmed again. Then the Bucks ran out, and it's like, whoa, what the fuck? I can't believe the Bucks are in the ring. And because the Bucks and Kenny haven't been seen together for months and months at this point. And the Good Brothers, like, Kenny was like, facing them, but on the ring on the ring ropes, and it looks like the Varsity Blondes were going to try to grab him, but Nick and Matt basically super kicked those guys that were trying to run up on Kenny from behind. Kenny threw up the Too Sweet. The Good Brothers threw up the Too Sweet, and they was like, looked at the Bucks like, you know, you want to quit playing, and they throw up the Too Sweet, and everyone loses their fucking minds online. And this is like this great angle, and we've got like this Bullet Club reunion. I was on 15 when all this shit was happening. This is what they get out of it. This is, you know, we were wondering what AEW gets. They get to reform the fucking Bullet Club, like, or basically put, you know, the Bullet Club together, and like people that love AEW, this is like why this shit exists in the first place. Like, so like this was a really cool visual to see. Super angle. If this is like a group, Callis and Mouthpiece, WWE has never like done this shit and positioned it this way ever. Like when they've had, you know, Gallows and Answer in the fold with Finn or AJ, it just always kind of came off as like, you can't really do what you want to do because you don't have like, it's like you don't have more than one hot act in it. So them doing this here, like it going from company to company, I love this. Like, this was like, this had the timeline ablaze Wednesday night.
Wow. I asked you yesterday to tell me what I need to watch besides the Omega and Phoenix match. You told me to watch the post match, and I didn't get around to the other stuff you told me to that we just went over. And I'm watching it, and then Gallows and Anderson came out, and I was like, oh god, who gives a flying fuck? And then they did the Young Bucks getting back together, and I was like, alright, Young Bucks and Kenny are back together, but it's like, so that's cool. I guess they're turning heel, or who knows, we'll see how this plays out, or if this is just a momentary thing and then they eventually split from there. But it's like, as far as
I think Gallows and Anderson and the Bucks are going to do a match.
Yeah.
I feel like that.
I can see that.
On deck.
But as far as like the Gallows and Anderson part, I was like, I don't care. Whatever, dude. Like, I guess a positive takeaway is that the Elite is back together, so you can do those matches for the time being until they, you know, if and when they decide to not actually officially say we're not really doing this or whatever else. But, yeah, I don't care about Gallows and Anderson. I just don't. Like, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot that you're still doing this Impact part. Like, oh yeah, that's right. I don't care. Like, it's AEW. I don't give a fuck about Impact. Like, I will see when they come up with these matches as far as, with Impact. Like, you know, people have been talking about the Chris Bay match potentially with, Omega for a while or else. And, you know, I will at least give it until to see, like, what they do with, Impact, with AEW wrestlers in it doing, Impact shows or whatever else. But, Impact's gonna have to do a lot to impress me to get me to be like, oh, okay, this is on even footing. Like, no, AEW's up way the fuck up here, and y'all are down the fuck there. So, they gotta bring it
on that.
We did get a question that says, besides Omega and the Good Brothers versus Swan and Motor City Machine Guns are hard to kill, are there any matches you care about? So I've gone through the trouble of pulling up the cards, so I'm just going to read these off and see if any of these sound interesting. So, well, I'm all the way at like this, them doing the Bullet Club
stuff would be cool, but
it's pissing all the right people off, that people are really angry about this. So I'm always, on the side of that,
Who's getting pissed off about it? WWE fans getting pissed off about it?
What, one more time?
Are WWE fans getting pissed off about it?
I don't know if WWE fans are mad at it, but I would have to check on that. But, they're definitely like, the real Bullet Club, in Japan, all the, and all of a sudden this revisionist history of like, apparently the Elite, like, this wasn't the best time of the Bullet Club. There's a lot of people that feel otherwise. I'm like, well, they were never higher profile.
Tamatonga was like,
top captain. I'm like, bro, like until Tamatonga becomes a better wrestler, I'm sorry, dog. You just got to shut the fuck up. Like at this point, like
I don't even say that. It's like, bro, that's your opinion. Your opinions can be wrong. It's fine.
Yeah, like I'm sorry. Like the highest profile and most successful they ever were when the Elite was in there. So you don't have to cap. Like we understand.
Was this evil version that we just saw the last 6 months better? Jesus Christ.
So we've got Havoc and Nevaeh versus Kiera Hogan and Tasha Steelz for the, I believe it's the finals for the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Tournament. Personally, I could care less. Anything on that one, James?
I didn't know Havoc was still wrestling. I hadn't heard her name in so long. Obviously she's been a staple. She was a staple in Impact for a while, and then we saw her on Indies, and then I just lost track of where she was.
So we've got a triple threat match for the Impact X Division Championship. Manic, which is TJP, against Chris Bay, against Rohit Raju.
Sounds like it could be fun.
Chris Bay's in the match, sure. Don't do
much TJP like that. Yeah, like TJP is good. We don't.
Oh, I mean, the great TJP, is there too.
Yeah, he's very good.
Never tweet all-star TJP.
Definitely.
Singles match for the Impact Knockouts title. Deonna Purrazzo versus Taya Valkyrie.
Should be a very good match.
Yeah, I guess that should be pretty good. An old school rules 6-man tag team match. Eric Young, Diener, and Joe Doring versus Cousin Jake, Rhino, and Tommy Dreamer. I've seen some of the work that Eric Young has done. Eric Young seems kind of reinvigorated and interesting, and Joe Doring is someone that looks interesting. I guess he was in All Japan for a while. But the rest of those guys, no. There's a gentleman named Cousin Jake. No. Like,
have you ever seen Cousin Jake wrestle, or just because his name is Cousin Jake, you're like,
just because his name is Cousin Jake?
Yeah, Cousin Jake don't make me think of Rich Latta's professional wrestling. It does not. It don't.
Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callihan. There is history here. It's a barbed wire massacre match, whatever the fuck that is. Famously, this was the bat shot, and I guess this is that feud. They are going to beat the fuck out of each other.
That was what, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago?
That was like in 2018.
Yeah. Wow.
Look, I'm like, if they want to have a crazy hardcore match, I'll watch it.
Hey man, I haven't given a flying fuck about any Sami Callihan match that didn't involve Railroad Spikes and Pentagon. So I don't know what to tell you.
I kind of like Eddie Edwards.
You think Moss can get a good match out of him? You think Moss can get a great match out of him?
I think he could.
Yeah, I think so too. That seemed to be more of his alley than the stuff I've seen him do besides the Pentagon stuff.
And then the Karate Man versus Ethan Page, which looks like one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in my life, because Ethan Page is the Karate Man, James. Ethan Page is way too talented to be doing this shit, so that does not interest me at all.
All I heard was Karate
in the main event.
all I heard was Karate Man and then Ethan Page and I heard nothing in before, between, or after. Say that again for me, please.
Okay, so the Karate Man is Ethan Page. This is a single match between the Karate Man and Ethan Page. I don't know how this is going to work.
So he's wrestling himself?
Yes, apparently.
Next match.
Way too talented to be doing any of this bullshit, and apparently this may be taped, so he may be on his way out of the promotion. I don't know.
He couldn't wrestle like Jordan Grace again?
What's up?
He couldn't wrestle like Jordan Grace again or something?
I don't know, man.
Seriously. No, I'm serious. Have you ever watched any of Jordan Grace, Ethan Page matches?
I watched a Jordan Grace match on Black Label Pro. That was an intergender match. Was that Ethan Page?
Right. When he wasn't in shape.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree that that another one of those matches would almost definitely be better than whatever this is going to be?
Yes.
Right. What? Why?
I'm into the main event with Kenny and the Good Brothers against Swan and Motor City Machine Guns,
bro.
So all those guys can work. So just as long as Carl or Doc Gallows doesn't drag this shit into the mud. So I can handle Gallows and Anderson as long as they're cuffed to like Kenny or the Bucks or something like that.
I can 2016 AJ Styles.
Or Styles, cause we've seen it when they split them up into brands, them niggas are sunk and died, but if you put them around, these guys that are way more interesting than them, they're kind of menacing, they have some presence, and I think, they're quick-witted enough verbally where it works. So.
Alright, so, did we put Gallows and Anderson on for Nessa of the Year last year?
Yes.
For getting the Shawn Michaels contracts, right?
It was basically for picking the best friends possible.
Right.
Got them paid at every stop.
So they're getting nominated again for getting a match like this, right? For getting this kind of thing, right?
We'll see where this goes because there's going to be lots of other finessing throughout this year. But
that's true.
I think
that's true. That's true.
We'll see.
Yeah, I you went through that card and I was like, could be good. It's something I would go out my way to go see. I don't know. Maybe if I heard word of mouth, you named 3 or 4 things that it's based on word of mouth, I wouldn't watch it live, but it's something I'll go behind and watch if I heard some good reviews on it or whatever else. It's really hard right now, man. AEW has
this was one of the best weeks of wrestling,
right. So but I'm thinking AEW has blown up in American wrestling to the way that it's I don't have time for much of anything that's in America that is not that is not AEW, it is not NXT or higher. I just don't. And I mean, that's not saying no one's not doing good work, because there are plenty of people doing good work. Otherwise, these people wouldn't show up in AEW later on or NXT later on. But it's just it's just really hard. It's just really hard. So some of these matches, I'll keep my ears to the street to see if good word of mouth comes out of it. But as far as one to watch, their next show, not necessarily. And it's I don't know what Impact could possibly do aside from just flat out taking talent from elsewhere to get that kind of buzz, and they're effectively doing this with the Kenny Omega thing. So they're doing exactly what they should be doing. It's just, they're just so far behind the pack.
I definitely want to see the main event. It's just the rest of the show, I don't know, man.
Right.
Yeah.
They got to try to work something out to further integrate and try to get more AEW people in and put under the put under the guise of get some of the young guys more reps. If there was a private party on this show, if there was a Jurassic Express in this show, if there was a Wardlow on this show, they
should have definitely asked for Wardlow.
Everybody should ask for Wardlow.
They should have asked for Wardlow and had him just crush somebody.
So I don't know about this, but what do you think the buyout would be for Wardlow right now? I don't think there actually is a buyout on this kind of. What do you think the buyout would be?
Oh, you would have to give Tony Khan $3 to $5 million for Wardlow right now.
No.
I don't even know.
No. I mean, like, if there was actually a bout on paper. I don't mean like in the theory, what is he actually worth to you compared to someone else, like in the open market type of thing. Like, what do you think is actually on paper? If a buyout is actually on any of these contracts, what do you think it is for Wardlow?
I mean, I would at least say $250,000. So
if that's what you think, why in the fuck hasn't Vince already spent that money? This man. Why hasn't Kadani and Bushiroad?
Oh, you don't know the story about that.
No, I don't.
He had a WWE tryout.
Oh my god! Let me guess. He didn't.
It whipped. They fucked up.
Let me guess. Bad attitude.
I forgot what it was, but I'll have to check the story out. But he definitely was in WWE first.
Did Lacey Evans not like how he rolled?
There's something that happened, but we got another question from JML. Right. He says, if Sasha Banks somehow leaves WWE to pursue acting full time, do you pick up the phone if you're Tony Khan or Rossi / Kadani? Only asking because she might be out of the price range in terms of contracts.
I don't think that they would be out of the price range for Sasha Banks because there are certain people that is like, you have the X amount of money you're going to spend, but for somebody comes on the market, you know, like a Rey Mysterio, you go and give a competitive offer to go get them because they're worth it. The problem is, I'm pretty sure that Sasha re-signed in 2019 when she came back from her hiatus. I'm pretty sure she re-signed then, so she's not actually she won't actually be available for that sort of thing for a while.
Yeah, and if she leaves to pursue acting, WWE like would still maintain her pro wrestling rights, but to entertain the question, I would say, if you are a company, you call Sasha Banks, and just to make her say no, be like, hey, we like you to come, do 3 matches, like, and if it's a case where it's like, yeah, I don't really want to commit to a full-time schedule, I think the counter offer would say, well, how about we book you to do 3 matches with us? Like, and then you get somebody that you really want to push into that 3rd match with her, and beat her on the way, out of the 3-match deal or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone in Japan signs her just because of like COVID, and there's a lot I think that would go into it. I think Sasha would want to go over there and do it, but I don't think they would be beating her door down. It would be something like, she would put it out there that I think that she's welcome to be called.
Well, I think the part where there are a group of wrestling fans in Japan that are WWE fans, like that subsect. If you sign a Sasha Banks to a Stardom for whatever terms it is, you're definitely getting them through the door. And if you show them what you have to offer, which is flat out superior wrestling and storytelling, you could, and also the fact that Sasha is one of the ones that like definitely, from a technical wrestling standpoint and, psychology standpoint would match up with some of the better wrestlers in female wrestlers in Japan. I definitely think that that would be a success. It would be successful. I don't think she would ever be like come over here and work and be like B Priestley and work 2 weeks at or work 100 shows for us. I don't think she'd ever do that, but as far as being like in that Toni Storm position she was in 2019, I think that she could do that, or she would be open to that sort of thing if her contract ever ran out or she was no longer with WWE. I think it'd be something like a bucket list type of thing for her. So I think I don't think it's as out of the realm of like a preposterous type of thing for Sasha to look into wanting to do that sort of thing if and when her contract runs out and she's done with WWE. And I don't think that like Stardom would not. I think Stardom definitely gives a phone call out to her because it's like, that's somebody they would love to have. even just for special events alone. But as far as, the real place for her is if she were to ever leave, which I don't think. But if there was ever a landing spot for somebody right now, AEW is a place for a WWE star or women's wrestler. That's definitely a place to go.
They're just looking for one, at least, they're like, all right, whoever this person may be that pops out, whoever it is, and if it's Sasha, it's like, well, duh, you're taking her, but there's somebody that's gonna go get that spot eventually,
right? Like whether it's it ain't even got to be like someone that's on main roster. It could be like a Candice LeRae showing up would be a godsend for them. Like Candice LeRae now, at this point where her mic skills are right now, would be a godsend for them. Dakota Kai would be a godsend for them. It's just, that's kind of just where they are. They have some talent. They are really hurting because a lot of their availability was seemingly cut in half, with, COVID throughout the year, and they've struggled. And also a lot of bad luck with the injuries, Statlander and Britt, in the first, third of the year. But, I'm more confident in their 2021 than their 2020 based off the shit hand they were given.
Yeah, man. What do we have on NXT?
NXT, since we've been gone, they have, Karrion Kross has come back. He has, started a feud with, Damian Priest. They had a match at New Year's Evil. I don't know the result. I have not watched, New Year's Evil except for the main event. A couple weeks ago when you were talking about Raquel Gonzalez, not Raquel, but as far as Rhea, how she lost to Toni Storm, her loss came after, Raquel interfered and then Toni mopped her up. It was another protected loss. Like the only real loss she's taken is the loss to Io Shirai in the title match back in, November. But anyway, I heard a lot of good news, a lot of great things about the Raquel and Rhea match. I heard it was better than the first match, which is like, I cannot wait to fucking watch this match. I watched the Balor in the Balor and O'Reilly rematch. In order for O'Reilly to get the rematch, he fought Pete Dunne in a singles match, a number one contendership match. The match is awesome, 4.5 stars. It's exactly what you think a Kyle O'Reilly and Pete Dunne match would be on TakeOver, except it was on TV. And then they had the Balor and O'Reilly match on the main event of New Year's Evil, which happened on January 6th. Go figure. But it was a great match. It wasn't as good as their first match, but it was a great story as far as the roles being reversed, where like the story of it is, the beginning of it, the first match was O'Reilly catches a liver shot, and he's fighting from underneath, and then he hits a big knee, and the knee actually legitimately breaks Finn Balor's jaw, and they go from there. In this match, Finn Balor is out for blood, he's furious, and he's saying that, like, everybody talks about this match, it's match of the year in NXT, it's match of the year in NXT, and the only thing everyone ever remembers is that O'Reilly broke my jaw, not that I won. Well, fuck it, I'm gonna break his jaw. And in the first, 8 minutes of the match, Balor, in kayfabe, breaks O'Reilly's jaw. And it's obvious that he didn't really break his jaw, but O'Reilly is so good at selling that by the time you get to the last third of this match, and the way he contorts his face and holds his face and sells, you actually think like, holy shit, you can actually believe that this dude just broke his jaw and he's continuing going on, even though I know he didn't break his fucking jaw. They throw in at the end when O'Reilly is firing back from fighting this broken jaw. He actually hits that same soul but that for that liver shot again, and he has O'Reilly dead to rights, and he just can't. He's going down, and it's like one of those things where like you see that the ship is sinking. Like after he gets that liver shot, it's like everything is failing. I can't keep up with this. I'm fighting. And it's like, at the end, Balor slaps him in a submission and he's forced to tap out. And it like, he stands over top of him. It's like, the better man won. Like, this was one of those, is one of those, like, the champion is in a TV feud or is in a short feud with somebody that's not at his level. The first match is so well done that you believe that, like, this person might be getting elevated, and the other person just proves that they're actually better in, like, whatever else. Like, it was a really good program. I like the program between those two so much. It's like, I wish that there was more to it, but, like, that was really all it was. I'm almost guaranteed that, like, whatever they do between Cross and Balor will not nearly be as good as what they've done with Balor and O'Reilly, but, you know, they picked Cross back in from day one.
Off the rip.
Yeah, so, you know, it is what it is. They don't see any reason to change course, and that's where they're going. They're doing Dusty Cup again this year. And the tag team for Undisputed this year will be Cole and Roddy. So they'll no Fish. So the tag match will just be, you know, flowing. So so that's cool. They did on the last show of the year. They did the blow off between Leon Ruff and Gargano. They did a bunch of, like, shit that I just imagined Triple H and Shawn had them do, where they come, you know, okay, so Gargano, after he won the title back with the help of Austin Theory and Indy Hartwell, obviously, with Candice with the broken arm, they have consolidated into an actual family that, you know, they call themselves The Way, like, go that, like, that way. Yeah, like, go that way. They call themselves The Way. Play off of the Johnny Gargano way thing. So, they have Indy, who's a smart person that seems to just, like, interact with Austin Theory like he's a dumbass. And, like, basically every joke is Austin Theory's a dumbass, but he's a butt of the joke, and he's slow, he doesn't get it, and he's clumsy, and he's messing up or whatever else. But until the bell rings, and he's a good wrestler. Anyway, they did a Very Gargano Christmas thing, where they did all this stuff where The Way or whatever else, and, like, Johnny's a cheapskate. Like, he says he loves these guys, but he's giving all these cheap ass, like, all these cheap ass gifts. Like, for example, Austin, you know, I've shown you the way, and I'm going to get you, and I also got you The Way. Opens up a Christmas gift. It's Johnny Gargano's The Way protein.
That's funny.
It's a cheap, and it's spelled like WH.
EY.
Yeah, it's just like, you cheap bastard. And then when it's Indy's turn to open up her gift, she opens up and is like, oh my god, it's a PlayStation 5. And then, like, you just see Austin Theory's face, and he's like, you got her a PS5, bro? You got me some fucking protein. Are you serious? And he's like, and like, she's like, she lifts it up, like, wait, it's empty. Well, yeah, like, it's like, well, yeah, like, I didn't actually get you a PS5. That's my PS5. Here's the box. It's like, what the fuck? It's like, and then, like, actually, I think it was something inside the box, but it was something lame. It was something lame out there. It was like, yo, he's treating us like, he's just treating, these two like shit. It's like, Johnny's this evil bastard is fucking hilarious. But back to the Leon, blow-off match. They go into the building as The Way, obviously. And then, like, they look down, Johnny's swaggering confidence, like, I'm gonna break the curse. There ain't no such thing as a curse or whatever. Actually, he's like, he doesn't actually call it a curse. Like, he doesn't want to say the word out loud to give it power. Like, don't put that shit on the universe, that type of nonsense. You know, because Austin Theory's a dumbass. He says, yeah, man, you're the greatest. You're gonna absolutely break that curse. And then, like, Indy and Candice look at him like, you fucking idiot, you don't say that word. And Johnny's like, I can't believe you say that. I can't believe you say this. And all of a sudden, they hear a meow. They look down the hallway. There's a black cat. Johnny's like, I gotta get out of here. So they cut to another thing backstage where they're at, like, that workout facility part of the PC. Mm-hmm. And something happened. Johnny blows his stack, and he grabs the protein, the whey protein thing out of Austin's hands. Yeah, that's what it was. Austin Theory's dumbass was eating the protein with no water. He was actually just trying to, he's trying to choke down dust. That's the best way. That's the best way I can explain it. He's trying to choke down his dust, and he did something stupid. So Johnny blew his stack, grabbed the bottle of, or the jar of protein and threw it, and all of a sudden glass shatters. Looks off camera, camera pans, broken mirror. It's like, fuck, I gotta get out of here. I'm cursed. This is real. I can't believe it. I'm screwed up. Next thing you know, there's a ladder that's open underneath by the entrance. He walks through the thing. All of a sudden, Austin there goes like, Johnny, you just walk, and then like Ken's like, stop. Don't even tell him. Just let him go out there. So him and Leon have a match. It's a good match. Not a great match, but a good match. And at the end, they do some nonsense, and then Johnny ends up super kicking shit out of him and hitting him with his DDT and gets the win. And that pretty much they also keep doing the Xia Li Boa stuff, bro. The Xia Li Boa stuff. Remember how you talking about how like, yo, who is shooting this stuff?
Mm-hmm.
They did 2 more of these since then that are just like as better. They're better than the one you saw that you thought was awesome. Like, basically, after they were doing all that torture stuff, eventually it gets to the point where, you know, they're still bloody and bruised, and you see all of like the strikes that like Boa's taking, and like after Xia was beating up that wooden, you know, workout thing or whatever else, like she's working over somebody, and like, you know, they cut to her, they cut to him, and they're both like, please tell us to stop. And then like the dude keeps saying, again, and all of a sudden you zoom out and you see that like what they've done is they have Xia beating up Boa now. And you're like, yo, what? So then like the next week, they're doing the same thing, except like they're not bloody anymore, it's just sweat, and it's like, oh, okay, so like they're beating each other up now. It's like like a martial arts movie. Like they've gone through the hard training, and now they're you know, their skin and their bodies and their bones and their muscles and ligaments have all toughened up. So now they're like, more, bring it, kick me. And she's like, I want to kick him more, and then like more aggressive, and then like the dude that was yelling, the Shifu dude was like, before was saying, you know, again, now he's like, nah, you good. No more. So, they were sent out into the world, and I guess they debuted at, New Year's Eve. I just haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'm interested to see this, and like, Boa and Xia Li should not be doing the jobs for like, at least like until June. Like, that's how good this shit was. Like, bro, you got you some new stars for this shit or whatever else. Like, don't put them around, you know, Gargano or Balor or nobody else, but like, they need to not lose for a while. That's how hot this shit was. So, they actually went and did not a sit down, but like a backstage thing with, Rhea and Raquel, and talked about their actual real life friendship, talked about all the stuff we already knew about, like how, you know, they're aces in real life. And then they tied it into, they retconned in the part where, like, she shows up as Raquel, she's with Dakota, she turned her back on me, even though this was never any of the story until literally just now. But it did feel heartfelt, like, their friendship, and, like, they did a good job of talking about how, of expressing, like, they were friends and are no longer friends, not our enemies. So it's well done, it's cap, but it was well done. And you know, I haven't seen the match, but I heard great things about the match. But like that, and I haven't heard anything about Cross and Damian Priest, so I don't know. What crazy things have you heard about Priest and Damian Priest and Karrion Kross?
Priest is getting called up, and I think so is Rhea. So,
oh yeah. I already knew about. I already heard stuff about both of them being potentially called up, so I'm already spoiling on pretty much who lost those matches. But
yeah,
as far as the match, have you heard anything about Cross and Damian Priest? Oh, great.
Not a nothing.
Great. Push him to the top again.
Like, couldn't even like break his way onto the timeline of like people tweeting about it. Like,
great. Aren't you glad that they pushed him to the belt in 4 months? Aren't you happy about that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I have on NXT over the weeks. I I'm sure I'm forgetting some stuff. But you know, actually, there was a good ass tag team street fight between Maverick and Dane versus Oni and Lurkin. And that was from, I think it was like 3 weeks ago. But that's one that comes to mind. There was like one show. That show was also on the same show. They had the number 1 contender match between O'Reilly and Dunn. There was also another good ass match on that card. I just can't remember what it was. But yeah, they had a great show that week. The next week after that was just alright. And then that 30th show was the award show, which is just like a throwaway. So, whatever.
Yeah, so I guess there's only one other thing left to do, James. Hit the music!
Yeah, man. So Stardom. Wow. I don't know where we last left off with Stardom. We didn't talk about their big year-end show. We didn't talk about Osaka show. So, yeah, man, like, cause it was kind of quiet. Like, they had their Corrigan Hall show on, I think it was the 6th of December. And then we went from there. Like, it was a lot of, you know, Momo and Utami, you know, prelude matches where they're tagging together and they eventually face each other in tag matches. Same for, Julia and Shuri. But, and you know, they also underneath that, the third thing was, you know, Tam breaking up with, Stars starting their own faction, Cosmic Angels. So I guess we can just start off with, we just run through their Osaka show. That was December 20th. That was their last big show. There was a pay-per-view in Japan. It's much in the ilk of their October 3rd Yokohama show and their 11/15 Sendai show. The first match was a triple threat match for the Futures belt. So that's Micah was the champion versus Big Saya and Little Saya. Very good, very, very good match. You know, Little Saya has like the match of her life. She hits a shoot headbutt while she's on the top ropes on the outside facing in against Micah, who's on the inside facing out. As she knocks her out, she basically hits a sunset flip power bomb, bouncing Micah's head, off of the mat and out of the ring, which she will never recover for, be seen again for the rest of that night. She then faces, is just down to the Saya's in. Little Saya ends up catching, Big Saya against the corner. She's on the second rope and she ends up hitting, basically like a flip over inverted, like a flip over even flow, which that Big Saya spikes for. And then, Saya ends up hitting, I forgot what she had a finisher for a move, for the win, and she ends up becoming the future champion. She becomes the fourth ever, future champion. She has a great post-match where she's in tears, crying, you know, you think about her. She debuted at like beginning of 2019. She's done nothing but get her ass whooped. She's one of the best, like, ass kickies in the world. Tons of heart, tons of fire, you know, built like a damn running back. And she, you know, she finally won a title. She's crying. She says, you know, like, I can't remember the stuff she said, but like, she's like, something along those lines of like, you know, follow your dreams, you stick to it, that sort of thing. It was a great moment. And yeah, she also, because, you know, she debuted 2 years ago and the rules for that belt is, under 20 or less than 2 years of experience. She says, you know, my second year anniversary is in a couple weeks And I was wondering if it's okay, Rossi, if you extend this to 3 years, which Rossi, of course, says yes, because it's his fucking idea after all. And so now, like, the Futures division will, like, be, Big Saya, Mike can go back to it, Azumi could presumably go back to it, Starlight Kid could presumably go back to it, even though she was the first Future champion. That opens up the door for, like, Mina and Unagi, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. That's who they're really doing this for. So yeah, that was a really fun moment. Like, I think Zach actually put that match on his, listed that match in his top 10 for 2020 Stardom favorite matches. And then the other stuff on the card, the white belt versus SWA, double title match, Shuri versus, Julia. Very good match. I don't know if you ever get around to watching it.
I didn't see that one, no.
Okay. It's basically every Shuri match you ever seen. Like, it goes to a draw, and it's just a completely, like, exhausting experience watching her get up, fight off a pin, block whatever's happening after she gets picked up, and then kick the shit out of somebody else. Like, and it's like, she's very good at draw. Like, she's the queen of draws. Like,
boy, I watched Shuri versus Momo, and I was just like, hot.
Right. Remember, like, the match that, the second Queen's Quest versus Donna Del Mondo match that you gave 4.5 stars. Like, what was the end of that? Momo and Shuri going down the stretch for, like, the last, like, 8 minutes, 10 minutes or so, kicking each other's domes off, pinning each other, kicking out. Like, she's very good at this. She's great at doing these draws. But, basically, it ends where, like, the closing stretch of this match, it starts off kind of slow, but, like, in typical Julia fashion, once they start brawling, the match, like, gets great. There's a package power driver where, like, she just dropped Shuri right on the back, right on her fucking neck. There was just a lot of great stuff. Like, the match ended up with, like, a double down where, Julia hits a headbutt, and then, like, I think Shuri hits a spinning back fist, and they both collapse to the ground, and neither person got the cover at the last second before the bell rang out. They get up, and, and Shuri's crying, because Shuri's just a great baby face, even though she's in this stable of tweeners and thugs. And, they walked off the sunset or whatever else together, seemingly holding hands, but, they end up doing, the trios title match of, Cosmic Angels versus Stars. Stars, in this case, is Mayu, Starlight Kid, and, the Clown. It was an elimination match, and what they did was, instead of giving you what you really want, which is, like, the final two is Mayu and Tam, what they did was, we'll have Starlight Kid pin Tam with Tam's move, the Tiger Suplex. They throw out Mayu over the top rope. They throw out Starlight Kid over the top rope. But really, like, it's 2-1. The last person on, it's 2-1 where 2 stars and 1, Mina is the last person. Mina eliminates the last 2 in Stars by throwing out Starlight Kid and by, pinning Death, because like, the last person you expect to actually, like, be there is Mina in Cosmic Angels, so, like, they gave her something by having her be the person to win this big, thing. And then Tam gets the mic and says, we're officially leaving Stars. Like, it's been rough the last couple weeks. Like, y'all clearly don't want us here. We out of here. And Mayu is like, it's so high schoolish, but it's also like, I get it. Like, Mayu's like, well, since you leave, and I'm gonna make sure to destroy y'all. Like, I'm gonna make sure to destroy, I'm gonna crush it. She pushes Tam. She says, like, we want a rematch because you beat us with the Clown. You can't beat us at full strength with Lil Saya. We want a rematch. They oblige, and like, fine, it's an elimination match, whatever, we'll beat you for real. So, they were set to have a match, but, I think at the year-end climax, like, Mina broke her nose, she's out for 2 months, so, like, they've had to scrap that for now. But the main event was Momo versus Utami. I thought it was the best match of the night. I gave 4.5. I gave the Julia and Shuri match 4.25. Like, Meltzer has those same ratings, but flipped. He gave the white belt match 4.5, and he gave the red belt match 4.25. I have it the other way. But yeah, man, it's Momo and Utami, like similar to what you saw in New York, and except it's at a bigger stage.
Wow, they did wrestle in New York,
right? Yeah, it's crazy that like Momo was 18. Momo was 18. I have a 4. I think you gave that match a 4.5 stars. That's crazy, but yeah. So they have a great match. Like Momo has the advantage for the majority of it, and then she hits the Peach Sunrise, goes for the pin. Utami kicks out. Momo looks up at the ref. Is like, "Are you fucking serious?" She snaps. Murder Momo comes out. She buzzsaw kicks to a seated Utami like multiple times. Goes for another move. Utami slips out, ends up hitting the Black Tiger Bomb, and gets the win. Like, it was another great match. After the match, Micah comes out and says, "Look, you know, we've been tussling for forever. We're career rivals. Let's do it again. I want your red belt." Fresh after not having to do a job to lose her belt that she just had in the opener. So, sleight of hand. And, you know, the first match they had, Utami won. Second match they had at the Cinderella tournament was that time limit draw. Micah beat Utami in the Grand Prix. I think that was the only loss that Utami actually had in the Grand Prix. Yeah, I think it's the only loss. I think everything else was draws So she went to a draw with Momo, and she went to a draw with Shuri. The only loss she took was to Micah. So 1-1. See you at the next Korakuen Hall. So that catches up to speed to the beginning of the year. They had a 2 out of 3 falls triple. Was it a? I think it was triple threat match, not triple threat, but 6-person tag in the main event of the January 2nd show. Donna Del Mondo, so it's Natsupoi, I want to say Shuri, but I'm not sure. It may have been Micah, and Julia versus B, Saki, and Natsuko, I want to say, or maybe it was Konami. I can't remember. Anyway, it's not important. What's really important is, in the first fall, the 2 out of 3 falls match, ref gets taken, Natsuko gets the chain, rocks Julia in the mouth with it, and gets to pin Julia. The clap crowd gasp. So next fall, Natsuko grabs the chain again, wraps it around Julia's neck, throws her ass over the top rope, and hangs her. DQ. And then the match continues on. It's a very good match. I ended up giving it either 3 3/4 or 4 stars. I think it's 3 3/4. Anyway, at the end, Natsupoi ends up pinning Saki, getting some wins for Natsupoi is important. She's eventually going to be a challenger for Azumi for the high speed belt. So after the end of the match, Julia wants to fight Natsuko, so she offers her a shot at the white belt. And you know what I thought when it happened?
What?
I shouldn't have been talking that shit about nobody wants to see Natsuko getting a fucking white belt title shot on the year-end show. This is nothing but the universe finding its way to to put me in my place.
So, you know, stop the noise, you know.
Yeah.
So I think we got the Shuri and Momo match too around this time, or was that on the 4th?
That's the next show. So we can get to that. But want to make real quick, the undercard of this show, or the semi-main of the January 2nd show, had a Starlight Kid match, Mayu, Starlight Kid, and Saya versus versus Queen's Quest. So I think it's Kamatani or Big Saya, Utami, and Azumi, and that match is awesome. I get that 4 flat or 3 3/4 of 4 flat. Great match. At the end of it, Starlight Kid ends up pinning Azumi. So move on to the 1-3 match. Go ahead, Rich. Take it away.
Man, I was so pissed. I was like, after all these months,
Momo versus Shuri. And before you watch the match, did you know what the time limit was for the match?
No.
I knew it was 15 minutes, so I already knew what was going to happen. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just saw that it was up. I believe I got tagged in the Discord. Someone was telling me it was up. I let them know that I had already had watched it at that point. I think Zach had hit me up and let me know it was up, and I watched it, and I was getting ready to sink in for this big match, and then it ended without a winner.
Yep.
Yeah,
the queen of draws.
I was not pleased, but
did you enjoy what you saw before the draw came down on you?
It was cool. I think they could have I think they did the match they did because they knew they were doing a draw.
Exactly.
So I don't think they emptied the gun.
They did not. Yeah. So that match is happening at the next Corcoran Hall show. Yeah. The draw was just to piss you off. The draw was for a reason. Like, all this stuff is, for the next show. What was I going to say? Yeah, so then, that's the only real match of note from the January 3 show. The next show, is the January 4 show. January 2 show, I thought was a great show. 5 matches, 4 of them good, 2 of them damn good ass matches. / great matches. And then, the January 3rd show had the Shuri and Momo match, which I thought was damn good. That was the only match I was really crazy about. But then, the January 4 match, show was also, very good as well. The main event, do you watch the main event, Rich?
That was the one with the crazy tag match, right?
Yeah, with the 9 people.
Pure chaos.
I told you. You couldn't make heads or tails. I don't know how to contextualize it. It was just a lot. Queen, it was it was a trios 3-way, of, not the Queen's Quest, sorry, Stars, Donna Del Mondo, and Oedo Tai. It's B. Priestley, Saki, and Konami versus Natsupoi, Julia, and Shuri versus Starlight Kid, Mayu, and was it Big or Lil Saya. So there's so much. I don't know. You go on your review, because I watched it about a week ago.
It was all over the place. I didn't think it necessarily I didn't think they landed it. It was kind of just over right at the end, and I didn't think they I felt like it was a house show match that they didn't get serious at the end.
Absolutely. So I don't think they ever got serious. I thought this thing was all, they was like, hey man, because one thing about this, I haven't mentioned to the listener. This match, this trios 3-way match, is a Lucha Rules match. There were no tags involved, so
no touch rules.
Yeah, so they was out here doing any and everything. It broke out into a 9-way 4 different times in the span of 15-minute match. This match was I don't know what's going on.
He had a Boston Crab lock on the other 8 people. Well, that shit was hilarious.
Well, it was an octuple head or leg scissors headlock, and then B got the person that was free and decided to turn them over and slap on the Boston Crab because she's a jerk. And then after that,
the rest of them over.
Yeah, and then after that, she proceeded to walk on all of their backs and then each individually. I think she skipped her teammates. So, she's walking over these people and it's these 6 people are you suck, as she steps on them. You suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck, and you suck. And then, like, a little bit later on in that match, she goes to stunting, she turn around, and there's 6 people, and they all waiting dog shit out of her. there was just so much crazy, like, Lil Saya, she's fucked, like, she's fucking up spots in, like, not ways where, like, yo, this fucked up this match is, like, to me anyway, she fucked them up, and, like, she fucked them up in such hilarious fashion. I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, I was gonna watch this match, I was like, what is going on? This match is, like, ridiculous, bro. Like, PWG, indie wrestling, this had all of the good and bad of both that you ever see in a 15-minute match that is just, like, they jam like 25 minutes of stuff and it's 15 minutes, and the match feels like either it was 5 minutes too long or 5 minutes too short because of like how abruptly it ended. Like it so much happened in this match that it felt like it had to have a conclusion, but then it like ended up on like a cradle pin. And it's like, what is going on?
She was weird. Like
I don't know. I can't make heads or tail in this match. Like there's a spot where they get Mayu, Shuri, and Konami in the match, and they try to do the triangle, you know, ass and thigh kick thing, and then like because you know Shuri's actually a former, you know, UFCer, and Konami's actually a martial artist, obviously. Like they start trading, and then like they get Mayu involved, and then like Konami kicks Mayu, and then Mayu like just falls to the ground and sells like she got a Charlie horse, like. Nah, y'all, I'm a wrestler. Y'all are real. It was just so much funny shit. And like, intentional and unintentional comedy happened all throughout this match. Plus, like, them wanting to actually have a real match at the same time. And like, I don't know how well it all landed together, but like, it's worth a watch just for how chaotic this match was. Because we're calling all this stuff crazy, but I wouldn't say this match is good. Like, I had a fucking blast watching this match, but like, I don't know what the fuck this was, but it was fun.
Yeah, it was like if you are looking for someone to compare us to, like, I figured this would be a match that would be like a house show main event that no one would ever see.
Right.
Like, and if it was like the Bucks and like SCU and, you know, like Hybrid 2 and like motherfuckers just, you know, obviously they can wrestle and are athletic and just do funny shit and can plan out a bunch of like shit. Like,
you know what, you want to know what I thought of in my head?
What?
This is like the Joshi equivalent of the Elite, Kenny Omega, Mayu Iwatani, Nick Jackson, Starlight Kid, Matt Jackson, Lil Saya versus Death Triangle, right? Versus Death Triangle. So, in this situation, Phoenix is Natsupoi, Pac would be, Shuri, and then, Julie would be Neville, and then...
Or Pentagon. Julie would be Pentagon.
No. Yeah, Julie's Pentagon, that's what I meant to say, yeah. And then Pac is Shuri. And then, versus... Santana, Ortiz, and MJF of Inner Circle, where like B. Priestley is MJF, right? Konami is Santana, and then Saki is Ortiz. Whereas like, there's gonna be some spot where everybody wants to eventually beat the shit out of MJF, and MJF just has to piss off enough people in this match where you want to see him get his, and then throughout this match he's being a dick, and then eventually they're gonna stomp the dog shit out of him, and you're gonna be like, this is incredibly satisfying. B, disrespecting all of them, saying that they suck, I'm the best, I'm Ichiban, and then she turns around and then she ends up catching the beats from 12 feet. Like, this shit. That shit was so good. It was so good. Yeah, man, I just, it was wild. Like, this is I imagine an AEW house show would have been with like Death Triangle versus Elite versus, this new Inner Circle that we have now. Like, don't ever put this shit on TV, but like, y'all, people that were at the house will have enjoyed the shit out of this match. And like, there's so many people there's like, nobody's really taking any real damage or really having to go all out, but like, it was a blast to watch. It was some super indie shit. It really was. But yeah, you know, we're headed towards the 10th anniversary show. They're not calling that big, show in March at Budokan. They're not calling that the 10th anniversary show. They're calling this next Korakuen Hall the 10th anniversary show. So the white belt or the red belt match is Utami versus Micah. The red belt match is Micah versus Utami. The white belt match is Julia versus Natsuko. The high speed match is Azumi versus Yoniyama. Yoniyama is Death Yama-san, except without the common match. She's actually going back to a normal gimmick, to her normal self, which is she is everywhere else except for in Stardom. Like they picked that
really good because they wrestle really fast.
yeah. And the thing is, like, Yoniyama is, I think she's been high speed champion like at least 3 times, maybe even like as much as many as 5 times. But like she's really good at that whenever she wants to do it. SWA belt will be between Unagi and Saya, and during these slate of matches, like they had a match where Unagi won and pinned someone else that on the team that Lasai was on. So I want to challenge for your belt. I just beat you in a tag match or beat your team in a tag match, and then like I don't know if you're familiar with this, but like they hide some of these ages for some of the women on Stardom, right? Obviously, like we know
they all
like,
have funny age,
right? Like Tam will be 33 in March, right? Like she's born in 88, so like Micah and Unagi, they're like 26, but like they only just got into, they both, like Utami, or not Utami, but Micah and Unagi, like they both been wrestling for less than 2 years. Like, so what they're doing is, or actually 2 years, or Unagi just hit her 2-year anniversary. Micah is like a year and a half in, something like that, or roughly. So like they're 26 though, so like they don't talk about like when they put up their date of birth on like their profiles or stuff on these pay-per-views, like the year of birth ain't there. You will not see the year of birth for Micah or Unagi or Tam. You just won't see them, right?
So they on their Keith Lee program,
right? Or Darby or Austin Theory, like everybody, like you this age, oh sure you are, but
like that Barry Gordy,
so what Lasaya did was because Lasaya, another thing is like, yeah, she's 4'9", but like she's 23. She's not like 18 like you would think she is based on how small she is. So the funny thing is, like, she's like, oh, you want to challenge for my belt? It's like, do you even qualify for the rules? How old are you exactly? and they were like, and then like, she's like, funny. Like, I qualify for this because of my less than 2 years or whatever else. So they're going to have a match or whatever else. Also, Unagi is somebody that like, she's 26. She's been wrestling. She's on her 2nd anniversary, but like there was some type of injury, so she doesn't have that many matches when she was in Tokyo Joshi Pro. But like from what I've seen of her, like she could be real fucking good. Like her kicks suck, even though she's she doesn't kick much, but the time she does kick, you're like, for a person with kick pads on that looks like you should be able to kick, you need to go practice something. But like I could see her in like 2 years being fucking really good. Like, so she had a match with Utami on the 2nd, on January 2nd. That was a good ass match, and it's like, or that was a very good match. So it was like less than 2 years, like 50 career matches. Had an injury, whatever else. Like, I see what they see. Well, I see why they brought her in from Tokyo Joshi Pro. So, yeah, like she.
They collecting.
Yeah. So. That and there's a few other matches, but like those are the main things for the anniversary show. Should be a good ass show. Which thank God, because I was tired of seeing these weak looking Korakuen Hall shows where I'm just like, the only two matches I care about. But whatever, because they got these goofy tags in. But yeah, we're here now. We're seem like we're back on pace from or similar to fashion what we were doing like before we got to the Grand Prix, before we started like doing these big monthly shows and then like doing 2 Korakuen Hall shows that are substandard to what you were doing before. So we're back.
Awesome.
Like it's like I'm part of the franchise. Us.
Well, yeah, man. Make sure you guys are getting your votes in for the One Nation Radio Awards. We got lots of votes in. Interesting patterns breaking. Some, a lot of spread. It's weird because there's a lot of things that are spread out and just as many that are like slam dunk. I think we did a really good job with the categories this year. So don't forget, the link will be in the notes. If you have not voted, vote in the One Nation Radio Awards. This is like the time we get to hear from you guys en masse throughout the year. And lets us know, kind of if we're like, it's funny because, I'm seeing some differences, like that would reflect upon our audience in the awards this year. So that's pretty cool to see. So, it's pretty interesting. So James, I don't know if you voted yet, but,
I have not.
Go ahead and get your ballot in as well. And, then I can eventually start tallying this stuff up. I want to try to do something fun with the award show this year, but I haven't thought of what. So, yeah, so we'll figure it out, but, unless you got anything else, I think we can,
did we answer everything in the mailbox or mailbag?
Let's see. Let me check and see if there's anything else. I think there might be one more. Okay. There is one more. So out of Nagoya, Hiroshima Night 1 and Hiroshima Night 2, which New Beginning show are you most excited for? So let's go ahead and try to pull that up.
Yep, I'm pulling it up right now too because I have no idea what's on there except for like Tanahashi versus Shingo for the Never.
Because that one looks great. Though, like that. So
what's the date on that?
I don't know the date.
Oh, January 30th, Nagoya. All right, hold on. So. First match, tag match with Yano and Okada versus Yujiro and Evil. Second match, Masawato, Sho, Homa, and Ibushi versus LIJ, which is Sanada, Hiromu, Ibushi, and Naito. Third match, Tenzan versus Great-O-Khan.
Mongolian chop off.
Look, if Great-O-Khan don't win that fucking match. Fourth match, Kojima versus Ospreay. Oh, I see why y'all were doing the jokes about what Ospreay was saying from a few years ago. And then the main event is Shingo versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Never. And then night 2 for New Beginning would be... Would that be Hiroshima?
Yes.
Hiroshima. All right, here we go. All right, Gabriel Kidd, Uemura, and Tsuji versus Kanemaru, Desperado, and Suzuki. Second match would be Wato versus Bushi. Not Ibushi, but Bushi. Third match would be Yoshihashi, Ishii, Goto, Yano, and Okada versus Bullet Club, Phantasmo, Ishimori, Dick Togo, Evil, and Yujiro. Fourth match would be Hanma tagging with Kota Ibushi versus Naito and Sanada. What?
What a team.
What? Tangaloa God versus Dangerous Tekkers in a rematch. And then the main event is Hiromu versus Sho. Now, I think if you were to ask me what's the best match out of these two lineups would be, I would say probably for my taste, Hiromu versus Sho. But I'm taking the Nagoya show.
There's also another Hiroshima show, night 2, which is the third one. That'll be Goto, Ishii, and Yoshihashi against Yota Tsuji, Yuya Uemura, and Gabriel Kidd.
Right.
Suzuki, Despy, and Kanemaru against Yujiro, Taiji Ishimori, and El Phantasmo. That could be kind of fun. Naito, Hiromu, and Bushi versus Hanma, Sho, and Master Wato. Okada and Yano versus Evil and Dick Togo. Jesus Christ.
Right.
Taichi, Zack Sabre Jr. and Doki versus Tamatonga, Tangaloa, and Jado. And then the double title match, Kota Ibushi versus Sanada. I don't know, man. I'm going to take the first night.
I'm taking night 1. Like, if you ask me, yeah, like I'll take night one. Like if you ask me the best match of this entire tour, I'll probably take Hiromu versus Show, just based off of just pure work rate. But yeah, I would take night one as best one, which was it the best New Beginning show, the second one last year? Or am I misremembering?
I am not sure.
Wasn't Moxley versus Suzuki in the Dragon Lee Hiromu Chop Fest on the same night?
I believe it was.
Wouldn't that make it the best?
Yes, that would make it the best.
I'm pretty sure that means that was the best night.
But I'll take the Shingo versus Tanahashi match I've been wanting for a long time. Yeah. Long time Ace of Dragon Gate, Ace of New Japan, like first time match, like hell, fuck yeah. Kojima and Will Ospreay, I think, has a chance to be really good.
Yep.
I'm interested in seeing the Great O'Connor brutalize Tenzon, and the 10-man tag. Hopefully, it has elimination rules. I hear it might, if I'm not mistaken. If it has elimination rules, it'd be great.
Everything is better elimination rules.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm into that show. So, the Nagoya.
Yeah.
Besides that, that's it.
Yeah. Wow. We actually did this in like less than 3.5 hours, or 3.5 hours.
Wow.
I mean, we had to review like a month worth of shit for like 4 different federations. Like 4 different promotions. And to have to talk about these idiots, trying to
overthrow the government.
Fuck. All right. I guess, cause now I don't have to put this in the description or whatever else, of the show notes. Like, so, I guess I'll ask you this off air, but I'm gonna ask you this on air. I want you to answer off air. Richard, what have been your favorite, busted challenges that you've seen? Anyway, that's the end of the show. Be sure to rate us on whatever app you're using. Listen to this with. Tell the folks about the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Be sure to visit ProWrestlingTees.com/Social and pick up some official Social Suplex Podcast Network merchandise. Be sure to check out the other shows on the network. We have this show, One Nation Radio. We have Keepin It Strong Style, normally on Tuesdays, maybe moving to Wednesdays eventually. On Wednesdays, we have the Ricky Clive Wrestling Podcast. On every other Wednesday, we have Gourmet Watch This Shit. On Thursdays, we have the Grave Consequences Podcast. On Fridays, we have 8-Bit Suplex. On Saturdays, we have All Things Elite. And on Sundays, we have Great Match Generator. Thanks for listening, y'all. Later.
Bussin'.